Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Hokage. I am no longer a human being, steal the forbidden arts and spread the ninja world. Chapter 21. Moonlight Shinshin doesn't care what Orochimaru's reaction is. If you want him to become a disciple, you must have this apprenticeship ceremony, otherwise he will be in trouble. Besides, Orochimaru is now the mainstay of Konoha, how can he not give it out of face? Okay, I will accept you as my apprentice. As for the gift you mentioned for accepting a disciple, come with me. With that said, Orochimaru turned around and jumped down, walking outside the school. The corner of Gecko Chinchin's mouth curled up slightly. He was a fool who was willing to take advantage of others. Even though the other party was Orochimaru, when it came to obscene development, he, Gecko Chinchin, was the expert. You two, go back to class. Get out of class is over. I have to go kill the big guy. After leaving a word, Gecko Chinchin jumped off the roof and followed Orochimaru's footsteps. Orochimaru's residence is not in the center of the village, because he is a lover of ninjutsu and science. So in order to have a quiet environment, he moved his home and laboratory to the outskirts of the village. This is a house surrounded by trees, not very big, and full of gloom. There are a few snakes spitting out letters around the house, which are obviously Orochimaru's guard snakes. Welcome, Mr. Chinchin. I have to say that since I moved here, very few people have come. Orochimaru walked into the house minding his own business, and the dark environment was given a glimmer of light by his white clothes. Tisk, Orochimaru-sama, should I say that you are worthy of being Konoha Cold Lord, the descendant of the snake? I can't stand this environment. Yugong Chinchin's tone was very relaxed. On the way here, he had already placed the Flying Thunder God marks around him as a means of escape, so he was not very afraid. Geniuses are all lonely, aren't they? This is a meeting gift for you. From today on, you are my disciple. Orochimaru casually took out two scrolls from the box on the side. One says forbearance and the other says snake. The moment Yugong Chinchin saw the scroll, his eyes instantly lit up. Ninjutsu must be ninjutsu, and snakes may be necromancers, or they may also be ninjutsu. Oh, my master is here, please accept my bow. Tell me, master, why are you so polite? Gecko Chinchin instantly showed a smile and bowed at 90 degrees, and quickly took away the two scrolls from Orochimaru's hands. Orochimaru looked at him with a smile, not changing at all because of his appearance. Chinchanjin, what do you think about the blood inheritance limit? Orochimaru looked at Moonlight Shinshin, who was overjoyed with the scroll, and asked a question to himself. Yugong Chinchin replied casually, it's useless if you don't read it very much. Master, look at me, I am also the owner of the blood succession limit. What's the result? Besides searching for information, what else can I do? This is the truth. The greatest use of transmittance is for peeping and sneak attacks. Other than that, it has no other great uses. That is also a gift, isn't it? If you don't have the ability to escape, you can't blatantly peek into the sealed book. Here we go again, no matter what you say, Yugong Chinchin will never admit it. Master is joking, I really don't. Orochimaru smiled slightly, but did not pursue the truth or falsehood to find out. He came to observe Gecko Senzin at the request of his teachers Hiruzen Sarutobi and Tsukumo Hatake. Originally he just wanted to investigate, but the talent revealed by Moonlight Shinshin really attracted Orochimaru. Only then did he change his mind and accept him as his disciple. For better observation, let's go here today, remember the location, and come here early tomorrow morning. Since you are my apprentice, it is important to cooperate with my experiments. Yugong Chinchin's smile froze slightly. It sounds like Orochimaru wants to use him for experiments. Suddenly he thought of Mitarashi Anko, who was Orochimaru's true disciple. Wasn't he also serving as a test subject for a curse seal? Although he doesn't care much about the curse seal, after all, it is just a defective sage jutsu, and he is sure to win it completely. After all, his system is giving him attributes anytime and anywhere. Just now, when he got the scroll, he actually learned a ninjutsu inexplicably. It's this ninjutsu that he doesn't like very much. Substitute technique. Mud form. It's actually quite useful, but it doesn't look very good. After all, it turns into a puddle of mud, and no one will like it. Well, except for Orochimaru. Okay, teacher, I will definitely be there tomorrow. After saying that, Yugong Chinshin smiled and said goodbye, then directly launched the Flying Thunder God and ran away. This move really made Orochimaru smile. He, you are very defensive. It seems that the spell has been left in the village. The Flying Thunder God's technique, hehehehe. For some reason, Orochimaru showed a trace of disdain on his face when he talked about the Flying Thunder God jutsu again. After leaving Orochimaru, Moonlight Senzin did not go home. Instead, he activated the Flying Thunder God technique and came directly to a friend. Oh, Chinshin, why are you here? No, when did you leave the spell on me? This person was Namikaze Minato, and he was practicing ninjutsu hard in an open space at this time. Well, that's what is called spiritual practice. And there was a white-haired man standing in front of him, his master Jiraiya. Ouch, Chinshin boy, why are you here? Is there any new material? For Jiraiya, Moonlight Thousand Mountains is a moving material library. There are so many materials that Jiraiya is really envious. Calm down, Minato, nothing about the technique is important. I have good news to share with you. I've become a disciple. Yes, the purpose of Moonlight Chinshin flying here was to tell Namikaze Minato the good news. After all, Minato often talked about his teacher. Everything is fine, my master said. My master said. It made Yugong Chinshin very unhappy. Now that he also has a master, who is afraid of whom? Oh, Chinshin boy, have you become a disciple? Who is so unlucky? Jiraiya laughed, he was very familiar with Moonlight Chinshin. If you let this kid fiddle with things, he will be better than anyone else, but if you let him practice, it will cost him his life. Jiraiya-sama, my master is Orochimaru-sama, who is also one of the Sannin with you. Gekko Chizun looked at him and Minato with a smirk on his face. The two of them had no idea that Moonlight Chinshin would worship Orochimaru as his disciple, and were stunned on the spot for a moment. Minato, do you still remember that we had a bet back then? If I find the master, what should you do? Seeing the joking look on Gekko Chinshin's face, Namikaze Minato shuddered suddenly. What, Minato, what did you bet with Chinshin? As one of the Sannin, Jiraiya has a strong obsession with the word gambling. Because his secret lover Tsunade is a super gambler. Master, Namikaze Minato blushed instantly, it was obvious that the bet between the two of them was very improper. Ha, Minato, what did you say back then? If I really become a disciple, you will go and confess your love to Uchiha Fugaku. I'm helping you. Ha. Gekko Chizun laughed and patted Minato on the shoulder. Jiraiya on the side had his eyes widened in shock. I didn't expect that their bets would be so powerful, and they fit the character of teenagers very well. But Uchiha Fugaku, that is the strongest person in the younger generation of Uchiha, and can be said to be the future patriarch of Uchiha. What did this kid from Moonlight Chinshin think that he actually asked Minato to confess his love to him? Jiraiya-sama doesn't know that Uchiha Fugaku is the strongest person of this generation in the Uchiha family. Definitely worthy of Minato. Yugong Chinshin had a wicked smile on his face. Namikaze Minato had a wry smile on his face. Uchiha Fugaku was the strongest young generation of Uchiha in the contemporary era, but he was a man. If he confessed his love to others, Fugaku would have to kill him alive. Chinshin, can you change the bet? You know that I have a good relationship with Fugaku. I'm going to confess to Fugaku. Fugaku will kill me. Namikaze Minato's face turned dark, he had already imagined Fugaku chasing him with a pair of Sharingan. But he has always been a man of his word, not to mention this is a bet. Chinshin, why don't you change it to another one? How about I give you some more secret ninjutsu? Jiraiya couldn't bear to see his apprentice in such a difficult situation and wanted to help share the burden. But Moonlight Chinshin would not agree, because this guy Minato told Kushina everything, causing him to be beaten and swollen for a week. That was only a week, and he was so purple that he didn't even dare to go out. He must avenge this, otherwise he will not feel comfortable. HMPH. A true man keeps his word, I'll go find Fugaku right now. Namikaze Minato's heart skipped a beat, and he took off his feet and ran towards the village. Moonlight Chinshin on the side laughed loudly and followed suit, leaving Jiraiya alone and messy in the wind. He didn't know why. but he felt that ever since Minato and Chinchin met, Minato seemed to have been led astray. In the current Konoha village, the situation of the Uchiha family is not as bad as it was later. The family headquarters is still located near the center of Konoha. However, because of the large number of clan members, Uchiha's location is a little farther away than a family like Gekko Chizun, which only has 2 members left. Soon, Namikaze Minato and Gekko Chizun arrived at the Uchiha station and began to look for traces of Uchiha Fugaku. In the end, the two finally found the mission goal after unremitting efforts. The good thing is that he found Uchiha Fugaku, but the bad thing is that there is a group of Uchiha young people standing in front of him. For a moment, Gekko Chinchin was laughing so hard, while Namikaze Minato was speechless to the extreme. Come on, Minato, let me witness your courage. Yugong Chinchin suddenly pushed Minato forward. And he himself activated his escape and became invisible directly. I'm watching you from the side, ha ha ha, come on. Although the figure disappeared, the voice of Yugong Chinchin still reached Minato's ears steadily. Minato took a deep breath, mustered up his courage and strode forward, looking at the moonlight and mountains. He couldn't help it. It really looks like a strong man is gone and never comes back. Uchiha Fugaku is actually several years older than them. After graduation, he was promoted rapidly, and now Fugaku is the squad leader of the guard force. It can be said that he already has a certain reputation within the clan. Looking at Namikaze Minato again, he is a strong man of the younger generation with extremely talented talent. This allowed the two to discuss each other in private, and their relationship became good over time. As for this bet, it was entirely Yugong Chinchin's intention. Thinking of the future, Minato's son and Fugaku's son would fall in love and kill each other. Then their dad must have some bad luck, ha 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 ha, when I think of introducing myself to Uzumaki Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke in the future. Moonlight Chinchin. Aha! I am a witness to your father's love. Ha 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 ha. No, he wanted to laugh when he thought of this. Bear it, you must bear it. Chizun boy, I found that you were really bad. This Namikaze Minato is pretty good, and that Uchiha Fugaku is pretty good too. You actually asked the Minato boy to confess to the White family. You are sincerely harming the two of them. Tisk, 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 I have to say, you are really not a human being. What a pity, I like it. Bring me some bugs, so I can eat them and watch the show at the same time. Yugong Chinchin laughed, quickly took out a bottle from his pocket, took out a lot of bugs and pressed them towards his chest. As the chakra surges, the bugs have been sucked into the seal. This is how he always feeds Chome. Take advantage of the gaps in the sealing techniques and throw the bugs in. The scene switched back to Minato. At this time, Minato was almost in front of Uchiha Fugaku. Fugaku also saw his friend and said hello quickly. Hey, Minato, Sashimi, why are you here at Uchiha Station? You want to see me for something? Several young people beside Fugaku looked serious when they saw Namikaze Minato. As contemporaries, they all knew the name of the genius Namikaze Minato. Well, Minato was a little confused, hesitating on how to speak. And when he thought that there was Yugong Chinchin who was watching the show invisibly next to him, he had a headache and went crazy. Why would he make a bet with this fool? Alas, alas, he is still too shallow and cannot blame others. What's wrong, Minato? Hesitant to speak. Tell me something. If I can help, I will help you. At this time, Fugaku thought that Minato wanted his help for something, and he was quite happy. In his opinion, being able to invite him to help is a recognition of him. Uchiha likes the recognition of others the most, it is proof of their strength. Namikaze Minato felt that his voice was about to go hoarse. With the last grit of his teeth, he yelled. Fugaku, I like you. Just as he finished speaking, he suddenly felt someone pushing him from behind. He didn't stand firm and threw himself forward. The next second, the yellow-haired Minato had already fallen into Fugaku's arms. Fugaku, what's going on? Namikaze Minato. Moonlight Chinchin. I'm going to kill you. With Uchiha Fugaku embracing Namikaze Minato, and accompanied by a high-pitched confession. The scene was silent, except for the sounds of suppressed laughter, but no one was seen. Namikaze Minato's mind was blank at this time and he completely lost his ability to think. The originally careless teenager was now completely socialized. The same goes for Uchiha Fugaku, whose ability to think has been shattered by the unexpected plot. He was even still holding Namikaze Minato without letting go. Finally a voice broke the silence. The source of the sound was a young boy from Uchiha. His eyes vomited out and his eyeballs almost fell to the ground. Fugaku, let me go. Minato came to his senses and quickly got out of Fugaku's arms. Suddenly the person in his arms disappeared, and Fugaku didn't even react. He was completely down at this moment. Minato Namikaze, have you confessed to brother Fugaku? This. One after another, the Uchiha youths reacted. They looked at Minato and Fugaku with complicated eyes. One is the genius of the village and the other is Uchiha's genius. How did these two people get together? No, how can they get together? Minato also reacted and quickly walked towards Fugaku with his hands waving, saying, "No, Fugaku, please listen to my explanation." Uchiha Fugaku finally came to his senses and saw Minato walking towards him waving his hands. He felt a chill in his heart and stepped back unconsciously. "No, don't come over. Minato, it's impossible for us. I like women, not men." Fugaku's heart was filled with fear. To him, the yellow hair was like the Shinigami's death-inducing scythe, and the hands were like the tentacles of hell. So scary. Fugaku, I'm not. I didn't. Listen to my explanation. The words that Minato was about to say suddenly stopped coming out, mainly because it was too embarrassing. Minato, I didn't expect you to have such thoughts about me. Your thoughts are very dangerous, do you know that? And, if you do this, is it worthy of Kushina? The words Kushina exploded in Minato's mind like an atomic bomb. Yes, he just cares about the bet. If Kushina knew about this, he would have to shed his skin even if he died. Suddenly he thought of the scene when he entered the women's bathhouse a few days ago and was found out by Kushina. Oh my god. Fugaku, listen to me. No, I won't listen, Minato, I didn't expect you to be such a person. I made a bet with that guy from Moonlight Shinshin. I don't really like you. Uchiha Fugaku shuddered again. Bet. Use him as a bet. Namikaze Minato, what did you think of him? She deceived him into embracing her for the first time, and then confessed her love to him. Just because of a bet. In an instant, the anger in Uchiha Fugaku's heart suddenly ignited. He, I treat you as a friend, but you actually treat me as a bet. Minato, don't say anything and just draw your sword. Today, I must let you know the result of betting on Uchiha. Don't worry, after beating you, I will go and beat up that fool in Yugong Chinshin, and he will accompany you. The red 3 Magatama Sharingan appeared with just one brush. The originally peaceful aura on Fugaku's body suddenly became like an unsheathed sword. The sword pointed directly at Namikaze Minato. No, Fugaku, I really didn't mean it. Hey, don't be serious. Uchiha Fugaku had already drawn the long sword from his back and rushed towards Namikaze Minato. Suffer death. Minato, I'm going to show you the price of teasing Uchiha. Fire style. The art of burning people to death. Great fireball art. A huge fireball rose instantly, and the hot fire energy blasted towards Namikaze Minato. I'm hiding. Fugaku, I really didn't mean it. Oops. Minato, who quickly activated his teleportation technique to avoid the fireball, was still trying to smooth things over for himself. But Fugaku, who was wrapped in anger, didn't care what he said. Since the fireball can't kill him, then chop him to death with a knife. In full view of everyone, Namikaze Minato ran away, and Uchiha Fugaku chased after him with his sword in hand. The two of them started chasing each other in the village. And Moonlight Shinshin was already laughing so hard that he was laughing so hard that Chome was laughing too. Ding! Notice that host triggered Minato Namikaze's confession of Uchiha Fugaku incident, special reward ninjutsu +5. Ding! Notice that the host caused Namikaze Minato and Uchiha Fugaku to engage in a chasing incident. The special reward is genjutsu +5. Ha ha ha, the reward has arrived. Moonlight Shinshin is so smiling. Oh, yes, there is still something left to do. Watching the two people leaving, Yugong Chinshin suddenly remembered that he was still unprepared. The next second, Yugong Chinshin decisively launched the Flying Thunder God and flew to the center of the village. Because he is in a state of penetration, no one can detect him at all. He quickly took 3 steps and then 2 steps to find traces of a person in the street. Soon he found the target near the mission hall. That red hair is very conspicuous. It is Jinchuriki of the future Nine Tails, the wife of Namikaze Minato, and the Uzumaki Kushina known as Konoha Red Pepper. Hey, Sister Kushina. Chinchin, hello, what's up? Are you here to take over the mission too? Because of Namikaze Minato, Kushina is also friendly to Gecko Senzen. No, I'm not here to take on a mission, I'm here to find you. Kushina was a little surprised when she heard that Yugong Chinchin came to find her. You're looking for me. What's the matter? Yugong Chinchin's eyes suddenly turned red, and he was very frustrated and shouted. Sister Kushina, I really didn't mean it. I made a bet with Minato. If I can find the teacher, he will promise me something. In the end, I casually asked him to confess to Uchiha Fugaku, and he took it seriously. It was obviously a joke, but he actually hugged Fugaku. Speaking of this, Yugong Chinchin keenly noticed that Kushina's aura changed a little, from peaceful to violent. And her red hair started to float. I know I was wrong, and I came here to apologize to you. Obviously Minato and Kushina-san are a couple, but it's all because of my mischief that Minato and Fugaku are chasing each other around the village. I'm sorry, eldest sister, I was wrong. I really didn't expect that Minato and Fugaku would have such thoughts. I saw Yugong Chinchin bow directly at 90 degrees, with a very sincere attitude. Well, it would be more convincing if he didn't lower his head and raise the corners of his mouth. Swirl Kushina, Konoha Red Pepper. The Uzumaki clan is born with terrifying chakra power and is the grandmaster sealing techniques. She is such a cute and beautiful girl, but she has a very grumpy heart. Well, it can be said to be spicy. She, who was already grumpy, was directly angered by Yugong Chinchin's few words. Without even saying a word, the whole person turned into a red lightning and ran towards the Uchiha station. Seeing this scene, Yugong Chinchin burst into laughter. Chinchin boy, you are really very calculating. I guess that Minato brat will get beaten up hard this time. Yugong Chinchin snorted very proudly. Let him betray me last time. This is a lesson. Okay, let's go home. We have to report to Orochimaru tomorrow. Hey, life is not going to be easy. And what he said just now really made Minato-kun get beaten up. When Kushina found him, he was still being hunted by Uchiha Fugaku. The moment he saw Kushina, he felt something was wrong. Because Kushina's state at this time was too familiar to him. She was obviously in a runaway state, and she was in an extremely angry state. Minato Namikaze, don't run away. If you're a man, just stop. Uchiha Fugaku's usual roar. It sounded completely different to Kushina, and it was like this in her mind. Minato Namikaze, don't run away, you scumbag who is playing with my feelings. Well, the meaning cannot be said to be exactly the same, but it is almost the same. Namikaze Minato. What the hell? These have 2 completely different meanings and are completely distorted. Kushina, please listen to my explanation. Minato shouted quickly. Even though he knew that the effect of this was minimal, he still wanted to try it boldly. After all, we can't wait to die. Ha ha ha, do you still need to explain? Namikaze Minato, I didn't expect that you are actually a man and woman. Is it really okay for you to be in 2 different boats like this? Namikaze Minato, oh my god, what is this? Uchiha Fugaku, is it possible that this guy really likes me? No, absolutely not. Fool Minato, I'm telling you, it's impossible for us. No, you'd better die. I feel like my whole person has been contaminated by you. Fugaku's red Sharingan has begun to rotate unconsciously, obviously with real fire. As for Kushina in front of Namikaze Minato, with her red hair flying and veins popping up on her fists, it was obvious that she was really angry. Hehehehe, Uchiha Fugaku, you actually dare to steal the man I like, you are not much better. But I won't argue with you today. I want to take this fool away and give him a good education. Namikaze Minato felt like his sky was falling. What evil has he done? What the hell? When did I fall in love with him? Don't be slanderous. I like women. I don't like men. Uchiha Fugaku couldn't believe that he was labeled as someone who likes men, and he was panicked for a moment. The next second, he stared at Minato with vicious eyes. The hand moves faster. It's all you. Shinai, Minato, that's what he seems to be called. I said it. I must punish you on the other end. Die. That day, Namikaze Minato felt what it means to love to the extreme and hate. Red fist, black long knife. His sky turned gray. Moonlight Chinchin. You wait. This revenge. Ouch. Be gentle, you too. The next day, Gecko Chizun knocked on Orochimaru's door early in the morning. I have to say that people who do scientific research get up very early. It was only 5 o'clock, and Orochimaru was already up. Here we come, Mr. Chinchin. Let's go, I'll take you to my laboratory. In fact, Orochimaru's laboratory is underneath his home. Under the dim light, a lot of instruments were in progress. There are various biology books on the surrounding bookshelves. Tisk, master, you are advocating biology. Dissect, decompose, tisk, it's so scary. Gecko Chizun said with a smile, not caring about Orochimaru's reaction. Orochimaru didn't care, and said with a smile, scientific research is inseparable from these. Shinshonjin seems to be very receptive. Not bad, this is the best. Come, let me extract some of your blood first. Every blood inheritance limit is worth studying. Looking at the ultra-thick needle in Orochimaru's hand, Yugong Chinchin felt a chill. Lao dang, your needle is almost catching up with the straw. Is this what you call a little bit of blood? I'm afraid it's not 100 million bits of blood. After all, Orochimaru is his master now, so he still has to contribute his blood. Alas, but in my heart. Chome, drawing blood won't expose you. Of course not. You're not taking my blood. What does it have to do with me? Moonlight Chinchin, I kill you. The blood extraction was completed, and Orochimaru was very satisfied. Although there are many people in Konoha village who have blood inheritance limits, such as Uchiha and Hyuga. But it is very difficult to get their blood. Now that we have the blood of Yugong Chinchin, we can support the next stage of research. Shinshonjin, did you read the scroll I gave you? Yugong Chinchin nodded. 2 scrolls, one is Orochimaru's understanding and innovation of wind release ninjutsu. The other is ninjutsu, the snake that Orochimaru will become famous for in the future. But Moonlight Chinchin was very surprised why Orochimaru would give him a scroll of wind release ninjutsu. It stands to reason that his chakra attributes should be fire plus earth, but wind escape is totally out of tune with him. But Orochimaru soon gave an explanation. Because Orochimaru handed him a chakra test strip directly. Have you always thought that you were a fire and earth chakra? But I don't think so. If you can learn the Flying Thunder God technique, you must have a certain foundation in wind escape. Orochimaru's eyes were full of confidence, which was the confidence of being a Sannin and a scientist. Yugong Chinchin was full of doubts, but he still took the test strip and immediately injected a certain amount of chakra. I saw the test paper change instantly. The 4 corners undergo 4 changes: burned, turned into earthy fragments, dampened, and cracked. For a moment, Yugong Chinchin was stunned. I didn't expect that he actually has 4 chakra attributes. As expected, wind, fire, earth, water, yes, very good. You can possess 4 attributes, coupled with the blood inheritance limit, you are definitely a genius. You must know that Orochimaru itself also has 5 chakra attributes, but the blood inheritance limit of Moonlight Chinchin can completely make up for the lack of thunder attributes. After all, a single chakra attribute is not as good as the blood inheritance limit. What about yin-yang style? Orochimaru was slightly surprised when he heard Gecko Chizun's question. I didn't expect that a 14-year-old child could ask such a question. Interesting, very interesting. Although it's a little early for you to understand this at your age, since you asked, I will explain it to you. The concept of yin style and yang style. The power of yin, which is based on spiritual energy, creates form from nothing. The power of yang, which is based on physical energy, gives life to form. Take Uchiha as an example. Uchiha's Sharingan is completely representative of yin style, and the corresponding power of Senju and Shodai's wood style are representative of yang style. One pays attention to the spirit, and the other pays attention to the body. Yugong Chinchin nodded. He still had a certain understanding of yin-yang style, but it was all based on the comics he had seen in his previous life. But now Orochimaru's analysis is even more accurate. Okay, I'm going to start the experiment. If you're okay, go outside and practice ninjutsu. You can start trying both the wind release ninjutsu and the homemade ninjutsu I gave you. When you calm down a little, I will start taking you to conduct experiments together. In Orochimaru's view, the current Moonlight Shinshin is not qualified to enter the laboratory. It is frizzy and needs to be polished. Gecko Chizen was also happy with this, and immediately ran outside the laboratory and started practicing ninjutsu. The days passed quickly, and a month passed in the blink of an eye. In this month, Moonlight Shinshin has completely mastered a series of ninjutsu of Latent Shadow Snake Hand and Wind Release. Orochimaru was very satisfied with this and gave Moonlight Shinshin a rare holiday. The reason, of course, Orochimaru had to leave the village for a while, and the third Hokage assigned him a task, and Gecko Chizen also had to take care of his young brother, so Orochimaru did not force him to accompany him. Although Orochimaru would rather want him to go with him. Hokage Building. Third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at the scroll in front of him solemnly, reading word by word. This is information sent from the front line, which countless spies have paid for with their lives. From the intelligence point of view, the rock-hidden village of the land of earth, the sand-hidden village of the wind country, and the cloud-hidden village of the land of thunder have begun to have unethical trends. Most of the personnel have been transferred, and everything is explained. The war is about to begin again. The pipe was smoked one after another, and the smoke became thicker and thicker bit by bit. But Sarutobi Hiruzen seemed to be unable to feel it, and was still deep in thought. Apparently just a few days after the second ninja war ended, these ninja villages began to move again. Hey, is peace really that difficult? War, such a familiar word. Ever since Hiruzen Sarutobi became the Hokage, the ninja world has been at war. First, there was a war with Cloud Hidden Village because of the death of his mentor, second Hokage. Then there were successive wars with Iwagakure Village and Sunagakure Village. Master Hokage, you are looking for me. Suddenly a very tall man pushed open the door and entered. It is Konoha White Fang, Hitaki Tsukumo. As the current Anbu captain of Konoha, Tsukumo has always been the sharpest knife in Konoha Village. Tsukumo, Iwagakure, Sandgakure, and Kumogakure are all moving. I guess the war is about to start again. Sarutobi Hiruzen pointed to the information aside, and Tsukumo picked it up and checked it. After reading it, his whole body was like an unsheathed sword with its edge exposed. Humph, I knew these guys wouldn't be honest. Lord Hokage, I can go to the front line at any time. Hitaki Tsukumo was not worried at all. As a man who made his name as Konoha's white party on the battlefield, he had no fear of any enemy. No enemy who appears in front of him can escape the Shinigami side-like ninja sword in his hand. Be prepared and have everyone in Anbu on standby. At the same time, strengthen the transmission of frontline intelligence, and we must keep track of the dynamics of the three ninja villages at all times. Especially Iwagakure, Onoki is the most ambitious. Tsukumo, do you think we can succeed if we send people into Iwagakure village again to obtain intelligence? Hitaki Tsukumo frowned slightly when he heard these words. He could clearly see that the information now on the table was obtained at the expense of countless people. If you send people to the kingdom of earth at this time, it will be like a sheep entering a tiger's mouth, which is very irrational. But the war is about to begin, and intelligence is very important. Alas, Tsukumo was silent for a while. After a long silence, Tsukumo slowly spoke. Iwagakure doesn't have to go. After all, once a war breaks out, Iwagakure's side will definitely be the main combat force. Kumogakure, the information brought back by Yamanaka Heichi and Gecko Chizen some time ago can also allow us to take precautions. On the contrary, there is currently no accurate information from Sunagakure village. Judging from the intelligence brought back, there are only a few sentences. Sunagakure village has to be on guard. He had fought against Sand Hidden Village in the last war, and both sand manipulation and puppetry were extremely difficult to deal with. Especially the puppet technique may not be a problem for high-end combat power. But for ordinary ninjas, the lethality of puppets far exceeds that of ninjas. He remembered that there were several extremely powerful puppet masters in Sand Hidden Village at that time, even though he suffered a bit at the beginning. Although a few people were killed in the end, the damage to our own side was also huge. Chio, it's indeed a bit difficult. Hey, if the war starts, we may have to face attacks from 3 ninja villages again. Speaking of this, Sarutobi Hiruzen's brows were filled with sadness. Konoha has always been the leader of the 5 great ninja villages, which also makes Konoha the one who gets the most fire in every war. No, I will lead the team to the Kingdom of Wind. It's just getting information, there won't be any problems. Confidence, this is the first feeling that Hatake Tsukumo brought to Sarutobi Hiruzen. Just wait a little longer. It will be the day of graduation from the ninja school in a few days. It won't be too late to wait until then. Sarutobi Hiruzen temporarily put aside his mission of investigation. After all, the information has just been sent back and there is still time. Tsukumo, do you think your son will apply for early graduation? Putting aside his worries about the war, Sarutobi Hiruzen smiled and asked about Tsukumo's son Kakashi. Speaking of his son, Tsukumo smiled slightly. Maybe. Since Chinshin's concealment class has repeatedly frustrated him, he is very motivated now. Ninjutsu, taijutsu and physical training have all made great progress. Even I have to say that it is indeed the right decision to let Yugong Chinshin enter the ninja school to teach. Sarutobi Hiruzen laughed. Then I'll look forward to it. The teaching of this class of ninja school is very fast, especially the new courses have been added. The hidden courses taught by Yugong Chinshin have been recognized by many teachers, and even students like his classes very much. Ever since Moonlight Kionzan became Orochimaru's apprentice, he has been absorbing the knowledge Orochimaru taught like a glutton. Although Orochimaru has not yet asked him to join the experiment, Gekko Chizun knows very well that that day will not be too far away. After all, Orochimaru would not officially leave humanity until after the Third Ninja War, so he was not in a hurry. During this time, he taught in the morning and went to Orochimaru's house to study in the afternoon. He read through Orochimaru's various collections of books. Soon, the annual ninja school graduation season will come. As a teaching assistant, Yugong Chinshin was also invited to attend the graduation ceremony. It was early morning on the day of the graduation exam. In addition to a group of older-looking students, there were also 2 obviously smaller teenagers standing next to them. They are also students taking the graduation exam, but the difference is that they apply to graduate early. Kakashi, I will definitely graduate early this time. Uchiha Obito looked at Kakashi aside with a very disgusted look. Kakashi was too lazy to speak because his eyes stayed on Yugong Chinshin. Since he entered school, all courses have gone very smoothly, but he has repeatedly failed in hidden courses. This makes the white-haired boy full of dissatisfaction and wants to avenge his shame. Moonlight Chinshin also noticed Kakashi's gaze and smiled directly at him. Kakashi's head instantly turned upside down when he saw this teasing smile. Obito was still chattering on the side, and Kakashi replied directly to him. The examiners who graduate early are at least the special Jonin level. I guess you'll be good if you can persist for 3 minutes, so don't think about it. Just go back to school and rebuild. Obito's face darkened instantly, and he looked at Kakashi with gritted teeth, wishing he could have a fight with him right now. The exam began, and all candidates stepped onto the high platform to demonstrate ninjutsu. The content of this exam requires students to perform clone techniques, substitute techniques, and transformation techniques. At the same time, there is also an assessment of shuriken skills, and only those who pass them can graduate. It can be said that their exams are much more difficult than future Naruto's. But for senior students, they can still pass as long as they are serious. The exam went very quickly, and a total of 3 exam locations were opened. One candidate after another took the exam quickly. Yugong Chinshin looked very bored, although there are probably people he is familiar with among the candidates in this class. For example, the same thing as Shiranui Genma, Kai and others. But it's a pity that Kai failed the test. After all, his ninjutsu talent is basically 0. It looks like he will have to help out next term. Suddenly a figure came to him. Thousands of mountains. Ha, Uncle Shuamao, why are you here? The person who came was none other than Hatake Tsukumo. As for the 2 people who graduated early, Mr. Hokage hopes that you will be the examiner. Yugong Chinshin was slightly startled. This was a temporary change of generals on the battlefield. The original examiner was a special Jonin. He was just accompanying him to watch, but he didn't expect that there would be a temporary replacement. Okay, what about the assessment requirements? Whatever you want, as long as it's not too much. After saying that, Hotake Sakumo smiled slightly, because after all, it was his son who applied for early graduation this time. It was also his idea to let Yugong Chinchin replace the original examiner. Looking at his smile, Yugong Chinchin instantly understood what he meant. Darling, this is my own father, he has to give his son a stressful exam, right? No, Gecko Chizun has no reason to refuse, and he still likes training Kakashi and Uchiha Obito. After all, these two are important figures throughout the entire ninja world in the future. As time passes by, the exams for all fresh graduates have ended. A group of students and examiners stepped down one after another, leaving the examination room empty. Kakashi and Uchiha Obito took the exam very consciously. Their sudden appearance surprised many people, but soon the teacher in charge of the exam explained their situation. In this graduation assessment, 2 students submitted requests to apply for graduation in advance. Lord Hokage also agreed that they should take the graduation exam, but the exam will be conducted by Jonin in the village. If they can pass the exam, they will graduate directly. After the words fell, Yugong Chinchin flashed in front of them. Looking at the serious looks of the 2 men, he smiled slightly. The assessment of you 2 will be conducted by me. No objection. Kakashi and Uchiha Obito both nodded. Since you 2 graduated early, I will assess you separately. The assessment content is very simple. Attack with all your strength, or defend with all your strength. Just hold on for 3 minutes under my command. Yugong Chinchin said the rules with a smile. But this seemingly extremely simple rule directly shocked everyone present. You must know that although Gecko Senzin is only a teenager, he is a Jonin personally accepted by Lord Third Hokage. Moreover, they are members of the Moonlight Clan and have special blood inheritance limits. For 2 students who are not yet ninjas, it would be difficult for them to last even 1 minute, let alone 3 minutes. Teacher Chinchin, can I challenge another opponent? Uchiha Obito was very aware of the horror of Moonlight Chinchin, so he asked the question with the mentality of giving it a try. But it was obviously not possible. Yugong Chinchin shook his head with a smile. No, Obito was depressed for a moment, but he didn't back down. Behind the crowd, Sarutobi Hiruzen and Hotake Sakumo laughed out loud when they saw Gecko Chizun playing in person. Sakumo, no matter what I say, this kid will definitely do it himself. It's a pity that only Kakashi and Uchiha Obito applied for early graduation this year, otherwise it would be interesting. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at the group of students aside. Konoha is a big family, not just Moonlight and Uchiha. Hyuga, Nara, Akamaiki, Yamanaka, Aburame, Sarutobi. Various ethnic groups have gathered into such a big family. As a Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen hopes that more and more capable young people will appear in his village. His eyes turned back to the examination site. So, which one of you 2 comes first? After Yugong Chinchin finished speaking, Kakashi took the lead to take a step forward. The young face is full of perseverance. Teacher Chinchin, please give me some advice. Seeing Kakashi take the lead in the battle and full of fighting spirit, everyone looked at him with admiration in their eyes. Hotake Kakashi, son of the White Fang of Konoha, certainly looked extraordinary. Very well, Kakashi, remember, the first factor in a ninja battle is one's own momentum. How can you win if you don't have the idea of winning? Listening to Yugong Chinchin's on-the-spot teachings, everyone nodded. Only a few people's mouth corners twitched violently. Just like Hokage, Sakumo, and Chome inside Gecko Senzin. The thoughts in their minds are very similar. You, Moonlight Chinchin, are a person who likes to hide whenever you can and run away whenever you can. Actually teaching others to move forward courageously, is it appropriate? The battle begins. Kakashi took the lead and threw several shurikens as a feint attack. However, the flying angles of several shurikens were very tricky, and they attacked Moonlight Chinchin in different directions. Facing the sudden attack of Kakashi, Yugong Chinchin raised his right foot slightly and then lowered it. Chakra instantly turns into wind, forming a defense around itself. Wind escape body protecting wind. This hand really stunned everyone. Is it possible to change the use of wind release? Is this still possible? It seems that this boy has indeed learned a lot from Orochimaru. This simple use of chakra to transform elemental bursts is Orochimaru's consistent style. Only Sarutobi Hiruzen and Hatake Tsukumo nodded slightly. Although this method of application is simple, it requires strong operability of chakra. It seems that this kid is not simply a fire and earth attribute, otherwise it would be impossible to use wind escape to this extent. A glint flashed in Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes. After all, as a person with 5 attributes, he has reached the ultimate in using each attribute. And his disciple Orochimaru also has 5 attributes. It seems that letting Moonlight Shinshin follow Orochimaru is a clear move. At the same time, a figure was on the roof not far away. The corners of his mouth were slightly raised as he watched Yugong Shinshin release the wind escape technique. Shinshanjin, he has good learning ability. Wind releases defensive type ninjutsu, did you learn it by yourself? This person was Orochimaru, who had just returned from a mission. Originally, he didn't bother to come to see any ninja school graduation exam. But I heard that his disciples were also among the examiners this time, so I came here once in a while. Now it seems that it is quite worth it. The battle continues. Seeing that the feint failed, Kakashi quickly changed his attack method. The ceiling is completed very quickly. Fire-style great fireball technique. A mouthful of 1,000-year-old phlegm, oh, no, a mouthful of flames that could not kill anyone appeared instantly. Well, Feng Dan was restrained by fire style. It can be said that Kakashi's choice is very correct. Kakashi's father Tsukumo nodded slightly affirmatively, he was very satisfied with his son's actions. Facing the roaring fireball, Yugong Shinshin consciously stopped releasing the wind escape. After all, the wind helps the fire, and he doesn't want to be burned into coal. Allah, you use Uchiha's fire style very well. However, it's still not enough. Water style, water barrier. Moonlight Shinshin didn't even move, and he formed the same seal. Even though his seal speed was not outstanding, he still completed the ninjutsu before the fireball arrived. The blue waves instantly surrounded him and caught the great fireball technique for him. The collision between fire and water instantly turned into a large amount of steam. Kakashi seized this gap and drew the short sword from behind with his backhand. At the same time, he shouted, "Shadow Clone Technique." With a bang, Kakashi split into 4. At the same time, dazzling blue light lit up from the hands of 4 Kakashi, and Kakashi was seen pulling out the short sword from behind with his backhand. A flash of blue lightning covered it. Oh, the Hatake family's ninjutsu. Yes, it's the first time I've seen him. Opening his insect eyes, Yugong Shinshin saw Kakashi's movements directly through the water vapor. This time the moonlight moved the mountains. He didn't want to be touched by lightning, it would be very uncomfortable. I saw that with his super eyesight, he found a flaw between the 4 Kakashi, and escaped with a teleportation technique. When Kakashi saw this, he turned around sharply and raised his knife to chop again. From shuriken jutsu, to ninjutsu, and now to swordsmanship. It can be said that Kakashi went all out from the beginning, and now he is even going all out. I can't let you chase me all the time. Wind escape. Great breakthrough. Seizing a gap, Yugong Shinshin dodged fiercely and quickly formed seals with his hands. Then he took a deep breath and blew it forward suddenly the next second. The scope of this technique is extremely wide, and a fierce wind swept directly across the entire training ground. Kakashi couldn't dodge at all, so he could only block with his short sword. The strong wind is just the prelude, and the wind blade is the key. As the wind blade passed by, Kakashi's 3 shadow clone instantly turned into white smoke and disappeared. And his body was instantly damaged by the wind blade. The wounds made by the wind blades turned a little scarlet. Kakashi, seeing this scene, Obito from the outside shouted out instantly. Cut! Kakashi cut sharply when he heard Obito's voice, and then leaned down at an extremely fast speed to reduce the damage caused by the strong wind and wind blade. His fight isn't over yet. A dazzling blue light instantly appeared on his right hand. The rich thunder attribute chakra all burst out in his right hand. The next second he raised his right hand high and rushed directly towards Moonlight Shinshin. This is my final blow. The blow that was filled with all of Kakashi's chakra opened a path in the strong wind. Moonlight Shinshin, who was maintaining the release of wind release, saw Kakashi's attack and his pupils shrank suddenly. Holy shit, Reikiri has been used. Although it is not a complete version yet, it is just the most superficial use of thunder attributes. But Yugong Qinshan didn't dare to overestimate it. Among all attributes, the thunder attribute focused most on destructive power and penetrating power. It would definitely hurt to death if touched. Moonlight Qinshan immediately interrupted ninjutsu and threw out a kunai. The kunai landed precisely on the other side of the training ground. Just when Kakashi was about to rush to Yugong Qinshan. Whoops, the Moonlight Qinshan disappeared. Yes, people are gone. The Flying Thunder God technique was activated, and Moonlight Qinshan appeared directly behind Kakashi, looking at him with interest. Kakashi, who lost his target, could not stop the car due to inertia. He rushed off the training ground with his right hand raised. Seeing this scene, Yugong Qinshan shook his head. Sure enough, if the technique of Reikiri is not coordinated by Sharingan, it would be nonsense if it wants to hit people. I couldn't stop while running, and I couldn't control the direction. Boom! As Kakashi rushes off the training field, the terrifying thunder attribute chakra directly blasted a big hole in the ground. Just in time for Kakashi to fall in. Seeing his son's scene, Hitaki Tsukumo shook his head helplessly. It's still too young. Although the attack is powerful, it cannot be retracted or change direction. This technique is not considered successful. Sarutobi Hiruzen on the side nodded, in the eyes of people like them. Kakashi's final blow is not a complete technique and has huge drawbacks. If it cannot be perfected, this technique cannot be used at all. Kakashi climbed up from the pit with difficulty, his face full of unwillingness. He didn't expect that the attack with all his strength didn't even touch the edge of Moonlight Qinshan. Just when he thought he had failed, Yugong Qinshan clapped his hands. Not bad, Kakashi, 3 minutes have passed and you passed the test. Ah, Kakashi was a little confused. Obito came over and slapped him on the back to wake him up from his dazed state. Kakashi, you can do it. You passed. Also, when did you learn the Great Fireball technique? Obito is truly happy for Kakashi. After all, Kakashi is his chosen opponent. He will also go all out for the next assessment and will definitely pass it. Oh, I saw that you remembered the seal after using it once, and then you will be able to try it casually. Nothing rare. After being surprised, Kakashi returned to his indifferent look, but the excitement flickering in his eyes could not be hidden. If you can't speak, you'd better stop talking. I'm afraid you'll be mad at me before I even get on the stage. Obito gave Kakashi a vicious look, then turned to look at Moonlight Qinshan on the stage. Uchiha Obito, Senzen Sensei, please give me your advice. With a vertical jump, Obito jumped onto the training field. Yugong Qinshan nodded and made a move. Come on, Obito, let me see what you're capable of. Uchiha Obito nodded heavily, and then rushed towards the Moonlight Qinshan like a calf. No shuriken feints, no ninjutsu, just direct taijutsu to charge. This situation stunned everyone in the audience. I thought to myself, is this guy so reckless? Even Yugong Qinshan frowned slightly. Hey, Obito, this guy can't be from Mang Village. Waving his fists and lifting his legs, Obito made Yugong Qinshan seem to see the shadow of Kai at this moment. Have you specially trained in physical skills? As an Uchiha, your approach is really unique. Yugong Qinshan blocked with one hand, and his fists, legs and feet were all blocked by him. Then he suddenly grabbed Obito's right leg and threw him out. Obito didn't panic, turned over and landed steadily. Then he started to form seals, the same seal, the same Great Fireball technique. What's the result? Call. A ray of fire instantly appeared from his mouth, but the imaginary fireball did not appear. Everyone fell silent for a moment. Yugong Qinshan covered his head helplessly. Obito, why don't you go back and practice? It's really not that Yugong Qinshan wants to prevent him from graduating. It's just that this performance is too disappointing. Ah, it was a mistake just now. Do it again. Fire style. Great Fireball Jutsu. Obito, who was being watched by everyone, blushed instantly and quickly formed the seal again. This time the fireball finally appeared. But compared to Kakashi's Great Fireball, this fireball seems a little pocket-sized. Why? Moonlight Qinshan sighed, and in the next second the other examiner had activated the teleportation technique and flashed directly behind Obito, placing his right hand on his head. Uchiha Obito, you didn't pass the assessment, please try hard for a year. Obito looked frustrated for a moment. Subsequently, the examiner announced the end of the exam. Yu Gong Qinshan noticed his teacher's aura and disappeared directly from the spot with a teleportation technique. When he appeared again, he had already arrived at Orochimaru's side. "Teacher, you are back." Orochimaru smiled slightly. "Qinshanjin, your modified Fengdun is not bad. It seems that you have really understood the scroll I gave you. Tomorrow, come to my laboratory. You should do experiments with me." "Oh, can we enter the laboratory?" "Okay, I don't know if there are any good things in Orochimaru's laboratory." "Well, I'll pay more attention to it then." Evening, behind Hokage Rock. Yu Gong Qinshan sat on a stone and looked at the sky. "Qinshanjin, do you still have the habit of looking at the scenery?" Suddenly a voice sounded from behind him. "Sakumo-sama, is it really okay for you to be so elusive?" Yu Gong Qinshan had long noticed someone approaching. After all, his perception was still very strong. When he heard the sound, he knew that the person coming was none other than Konoha White Fang Hatake Sakumo. He, it's just a habit left behind on the battlefield. I don't know, Lord Sakumo, what do you want from me? As the saying goes, if you don't have anything to do, don't go to the Three Treasures Hall. He doesn't believe that Hatake Sakumo has nothing to do with him. "Thank you very much for today's Kakashi matter. I can see that you are holding back. Kakashi is very compatible with me, and his strength can be graduated. A genius who can use the shadow clone technique and can change the nature of chakra. Anyone who is not blind knows that he has already surpassed Genin in strength." Listening to Gekko Chizen's praise of Kakashi, Sakumo shook his head with a smile and said casually, "He's still far behind. Qinshan-kun, I wonder what you think of Sand Hidden Village." Here we go, this is the main event. Sunagakur Village, a down-and-out village that has always longed for the fertile land of our Konoha village. In the first two ninja wars, didn't they just attack us with the idea of occupying our land? Sakumo nodded. Yu Gong Qinshan's analysis was correct. The Kingdom of Wind lacks fertile land, which makes their living environment more difficult. But at the same time, the quality of the ninjas in the village is very high, and the war is also launched to gain land and improve life. You did a good job regarding Union Village. I'm looking for you today because of matters related to Sunagakur Village. In the near future, the Third Ninja War may break out. Before that, we need to go to Sand Hidden Village to explore information. I would like to invite you to join my team and go together." Yu Gong Qinshan frowned slightly when he heard this. He didn't mean to refuse to go on the mission, but he thought about the cause of Hatake Sakumo's death. In the original book, he went on a mission to obtain intelligence, but chose to give up the mission to save his companions, and as a result was criticized. In the end, the rumors in the village broke his heart, and the shadow-level powerhouse chose to commit suicide to end everything. Judging from the time, it should be this mission. Don't worry, this mission is mainly about gathering intelligence, and there won't be any great danger. Besides, with me accompanying you and your ability to hide, don't you feel at ease? Sakumo thought that Moonlight Qinshan was frowning because of the difficulty of the task, and immediately spoke out to persuade him. "Ah, it's not because of this. I'm afraid that I'll be out for too long and my brother can't live without me, haha. Since Lord Sakumo personally invited me, why should I refuse? When the mission starts, you inform me and I will return to the team immediately. After all, I am now under Orochimaru-sama, and I still have to learn from and help him. Go, he hasn't been to Sand Hidden Village yet, let's see if he can do some side business besides the mission. Last time, those people from Union Village provided him with money and food. Hey, it's a pity that Takigakur was only focused on stealing 7 tails that time. Why didn't they think of getting something valuable back? Mistake, big mistake. He said he was going to go on an exploratory mission, but not now. After all, there is peace among the major ninja villages now, and the affairs of Union Village and Yuno country still need to be dealt with. So Yu Gong Qinshan knew that they would never set off to Sand Hidden Village in a short time. At the moment, all of Gekko Chizen's attention is on Orochimaru's laboratory. The next day, Gekko Chizen came to Orochimaru's house and was particularly excited. After waiting for so long, it's finally time to explore the true riches of Orochimaru. Qinshanjin, this is my laboratory, although you can join the experiment now. But remember, don't move. Orochimaru's tone lost its original calmness, and instead took on a hint of coolness. It was obvious that this laboratory was important to him. Even if you are your own apprentice, you have to be careful. Yugong Qinshan nodded repeatedly, promising to be obedient. Enter the dark laboratory again. There were several huge containers around, filled with liquid. There were some animal carcasses soaked in the liquid. There are countless bottles and cans of all kinds. Qinshanjin, do you know the Book of Seals? Yugong Qinshan nodded. I know that the Book of Forbidden Arts left behind by Master Second Hokage contains all of the most difficult forbidden arts. Sensei must have learned ninjutsu among them. The Book of Sealing in Konoha is not really sealed and cannot be learned at all. Once you make a great contribution to Konoha, you can still exchange it for the opportunity to learn one of the ninjutsu. A ninja of Orochimaru's level and a disciple of the third Hokage must have read the Book of Sealing. Orochimaru glanced at Moonlight Qinshan appreciatively. Yes, I've learned ninjutsu among them too, and more than one. Aren't you curious about what ninjutsu I learned? Yugong Qinshan shook his head. Of course he's not curious, isn't it just the reincarnation of dirt? Using this technique as a medium, Orochimaru created the zombie reincarnation and truly achieved immortality. The technique I learned is indeed a bit mysterious. It's okay if you don't want to know. Then let me ask you again, Qinshanjin, are you curious about life? Don't be curious, not curious at all. Just be happy throughout your life. This is Yugong Qinshan's true thoughts, but he definitely can't tell Orochimaru like this, because he is afraid of being kicked out. Life is very magical. It is obviously very fragile, but it is also full of tenacity. This was the answer Yugong Qinshan had already thought of. After all, Orochimaru's change of mentality was entirely due to witnessing too many lives and deaths. The fact was just as Moonlight Qinshan expected. After Orochimaru heard Moonlight Qinshan's answer, a glimmer of light flashed in his pupils. There was obvious surprise and approval at his answer. Very good, you are indeed suitable to be by my side. Come on, Mr. Qinshan, let's start with the most basic anatomy. Orochimaru pointed to the toad corpse aside and arranged for him to start the beginner's lesson. Yugong Qinshan looked at the toad on the table, and for some reason a person suddenly flashed in his mind. Snake King Snape, this dark environment seems to have become the cellar of Hogwarts. Hey, this life is really full of excitement. In the following days, Moonlight Qinshan perfectly explained what it means to be a stubborn person in the scientific world. Orochimaru asked him to dissect and play with dismemberment. Orochimaru asked him to extract blood for observation, so he turned into a vampire and directly extracted a liter of blood. Orochimaru asked him to learn biological knowledge, but he just played chess with Zhou Gong every day. Orochimaru was speechless. Being able to turn such a lion majesty into a mute was a miracle in the ninja world. Finally, after 3 months, Orochimaru couldn't stand it anymore. Looking at Moonlight Qinshan who was pushed outside the door, Orochimaru's eyebrows jumped. Qinshan-kun, I've thought about it again and again, you should learn ninjutsu. Science is not suitable for you. Also, where is my Kusanagi sword? After all, he is his chosen disciple, what else can he do? Moreover, this apprentice has good talents and good strength, and he has the blood inheritance limit to help him understand the genetic structure. But he only knows nothing about scientific experiments. It has been 3 months, and I am still not even a beginner. On the contrary, his experimental items were missing a lot, and he even lost a Kusanagi sword. Yugong Qinshan looked at the laboratory with regret on his face. He really wanted to continue to stay. Not to mention anything else these days, how much has he taken in terms of various potions? Stimulates the flow of chakra, stimulates physical recovery, and stimulates the growth of mental power. Alas, Orochimaru is a treasure trove. Although he is a bit cruel, that is the future. The current Orochimaru is a saint in the eyes of Moonlight Qinshan. He even found several swords in secret compartments in the laboratory cabinet. He could tell at a glance that it was the Kusanagi sword. And he took one directly. The blade was straight and there was no tantrum guard. It was obviously the one held by future Urzuzi, but since he saw it, there was no reason not to take it away. Put it directly into your arms. And he was accused of stealing various potions and Kusanagi sword from his teacher. I am very honored to have received a large number of attribute improvements. Now, although he is only 15 years old, he has already reached Jonin's target perfectly. Moonlight Thousand Mountains. Age: 15. Konoha Village, Moonlight Clan Jonin, Jinchuriki, 7 Tails. Blood Succession Limit. Transparent Escape Perfect Mastery. Ninjutsu. Multiple Shadow Clone Jutsu, 8 Gates Armor, Flying Thunder God Jutsu, Fire Style Ninjutsu Great Fireball, Phoenix Sage Fire Earth Style Ninjutsu Earth Style Wall, Hard Beheading Technique. Wind Release Technique Body Protection, Great Breakthrough, Wind Cut. Latent Snake Hand. Tailed Beast. Chome, Affinity 100%. Strength, 55. Speed, 70. Chakra, 70. Physique, 75. Ninjutsu, 80. Physical Skills, 50. Genjutsu, 55. Seal, 55. Ding, reminder, the panel is set according to the Book of Fighters, the ratio is roughly 1:10. Gecko Chizun is very satisfied with his current situation. Although he is still a little biased, his ninjutsu alone has always risen to 80, which allows him to unleash the power of ninjutsu far beyond before. But now facing the expulsion of his teacher, he felt very aggrieved. Teacher, you can't blame me. That scalpel is completely different from my ninja sword. I wanted to cut it vertically, but he came sideways. Hey, how much I want to accompany the teacher to continue the experiment. Forget it, teacher, if you need my help in the future, just tell me. With my blood inheritance limit, if you want the 3rd generation old man's pipe and pot, I'll steal them for you. Orochimaru's mouth twitched as he looked at the dancing moonlight Chinchin, feeling for the first time that his original decision was a mistake. What does he want the Hokage's pipe for? But Gecko Chizun's words made Orochimaru's heart move slightly. What is Moonlight Chinchin best at? Not fighting, not scientific research, but being a spy or a lurker. With the power of penetration and Flying Thunder God, he is completely at the pinnacle of espionage. Even Orochimaru had to admit this, otherwise he would not have his scientific research results plundered by his apprentices under his nose. Although they are all potions, they were also developed by him carefully. Thinking of this, Orochimaru couldn't help but feel a little sick. Chinshanjin, you were right, although you cannot help me conduct scientific research experiments. But you are still very useful. If I asked you to go to other villages to help me get some rare materials or techniques, would you be willing? Moonlight Chinchin. I just said that, why did you take it seriously? But, it's not impossible. After all, if he goes there, he can get more things back if he can. Yes, I am duty-bound for your research, Master. Tell me, Master, do you want Lord Third Hokage's pipe pot? Or the crystal ball he uses for peeping? I'll get it back for you right now. Orochimaru. Are you competing with the 3rd Hokage? What's the use of a pipe and a crystal ball? Forget it, as long as you have this heart, he still knows the current forms of several ninja villages. Even he is unwilling to go out at this time. After all, there are soldiers everywhere. No need now, you can go back to being a teacher. I will inform you if necessary. By the way, take this, it's the same as the previous 2 scrolls, except that this scroll records some basic sealing techniques. It will be good for you if you learn. I have to say that Orochimaru is still a good person without being blackened. Looking at the scroll with the seal written in his hand, Yugong Chinchin was a little moved. Unfortunately, he had already cheated the sealing techniques from Jiraiya, and they were probably similar to those given by Orochimaru. Forget it, take it, it's a gift from Orochimaru after all. Okay, Master, I'll take my leave then. After a salute, the Flying Thunder God launched directly. Moonlight Chinchin appeared on the roof of the ninja school in the next second. Looking at the technique he marked on the roof, he smiled slightly. I've made a lot of money in the past 3 months. Jump off the roof and go to class. During this period, all the ninja villages seemed to have entered a period of hibernation. No fighting, no contact. But everyone can know that this is just the calm before the storm. Konoha village is also making preparations intensively. All ninjas who are outside will be transferred back, and at the same time, tasks outside the village will be greatly reduced. For a time, the income of the ninjas in the village dropped significantly. Among them, the most severely affected are ordinary ninjas, who rely on mission rewards to survive. Konoha Mission Hall. There are fewer and fewer tasks recently. If this continues, my son and I will suffer from the northwest wind. The two ninjas, also wearing green tights, looked at the mission panel and couldn't help but complain. His words caused many ninjas around him to nod in agreement. Yes, there have been very few tasks recently. Hey, besides our country of fire, there are almost no missions to other countries. Of course, many people familiar with the matter helped to comfort them. I can't help it. Something's not right with the three surrounding ninja villages recently. Weren't there Kumogakure ninjas in Uno Kuni some time ago? I heard that several of our Anbu personnel were killed. For a time, the huge mission hall completely turned into a tea house, filled with the sounds of chatting and complaining. Hokage building. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at the scene in front of him through the crystal ball and frowned. Hey, people's hearts have been a little unstable lately. Behind him were sitting several veteran cadres from Konoha village. They are Mito Menyon, Kaharu and the future 5.5th Hokage Shimura Danzo. There is no way. The signs of war are getting more and more serious. If they are allowed to go out to perform tasks at this time, once they are defeated one by one, it will be a blow to the overall strength of the village. Mito Kabuto spoke his thoughts with a serious face. His words caused Kaharu to nod. HMPH, Sarutobi, if you want to talk to me, we should prepare earlier. It's clear that war is imminent. Whether it's Uchiha or Hyuga, they should be prepared earlier. Danzo snorted coldly. His attack was very simple and crude, but it made some sense. Both Uchiha and Hyuga are rich and strong people, and with their eye power, they are more suitable for guard work than many ninjas. Sarutobi Hiruzen took a puff of cigarette and said nothing. In fact, he was also wondering whether he should start making preparations. However, Konoha has always been in a situation of being attacked from all sides. If it takes the lead, something unexpected may happen. What are you hesitating about, Hiruzen, if you are worried? Send Anbu to collect intelligence again. There is no need for Kumogakure, just focus on Iwagakure and Sunagakure. Isn't there a candidate? Didn't Hitaki Sakumo volunteer to go to Sunagakure? Danzo's expression did not change at all, as if there was no danger at all in sending personnel to other countries to obtain intelligence. But in this case, Mitomen and Kaharu agreed. Indeed, intelligence is most important at the beginning of a war. If Sakumo wants to go, then let him go. If I remember correctly, he also invited Yugong Chinshin from the Yugong clan. Hearing Moonlight Chinshin's name, Danzo's eyes flashed with a faint light. With his ability to escape and fly, he is very suitable for intelligence missions. And where did he learn the Flying Thunder God technique? This is also a question. At present, he is not held responsible for stealing lessons, but he has to contribute to the village. Danzo's few words directly pushed Moonlight Chinshin to the bright side. At this time, Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't help but look grim. How could he not hear what Danzo meant? Did he want Moonlight Chinshin to pay for his mistakes? Humph, don't you know that Yugong Chinshin is the person he likes? That's his disciple. The talents of the Yugong clan are withering. Unless necessary, there is no need to dispatch Yugong Chinshin. Hiruzen's words directly made the three of them unhappy. Isn't it a necessary moment? Then when is the necessary moment? Do other ninja villages have to come to the door? Faced with Danzo's pressing steps, Sarutobi Hiruzen had some anger on his face. HMPH, Danzo, I am the Hokage. Sakumo's mission will start later, but you don't need to worry about the candidate. Amidst Sarutobi Hiruzen's roar, the meeting broke up unhappy. But Hitaki Sakumo's mission is about to be put on the agenda. Chapter 31. Finally, another month passed. There was finally a knock on the door of Yugong Chinshin's house. Looking at Anbu outside the door, Yugong Chinshin was not surprised at all. After all, Hitaki Sakumo is currently Anbu's boss, so it's perfectly normal for him to order Anbu to come over and inform him. Sakumo-sama has an order for you to go to Hokage-sama's office. There is a mission. Yugong Chinshin nodded, and then launched the Flying Thunder God directly in front of Anbu, and disappeared in place. This hand-stunned Anbu, who came to deliver the message. Looking at the Moonlight Chinshin that had disappeared, he could not help but murmur. Is it any wonder that you are appreciated by Sakumo-sama, Space Ninjutsu? It's really scary. The flying thunder god technique of Moonlight Thousand Mountains is engraved on the roof of the Hokage building. I don't know if he did it on purpose, but as long as there are spells in the village, most of them are on the roof. Now that we're here, don't stand on the roof and come in quickly. Suddenly, the window of Hokage's office was opened, and a familiar figure poked his head out. It was none other than Yamanaka Heichi. Hey, Heichi, it looks like we can be together again on this mission. Yugong Chinshin didn't feel embarrassed at all about climbing out of the window. After entering through the window, he found that many people were already standing inside the house. Hitoki Tsukumo stood at the front, with 5 people standing behind him, including Yamanaka Heichi, who had just returned to the team. Here we go, I'm the last one to inform you. I didn't expect you to come very quickly. Tsukumo said with a smile, while Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen on the side twitched the corner of his mouth and complained harshly. You kid, go back and remove the spell on the roof, otherwise I want you to look good. This fool kid actually dared to leave a magic spell on his Hokage building, that's too much. If this little fool sees this when he accidentally activates the telescope technique in the future, hey, it's unimaginable. Hey, it's just a technique. Master Hokage, you can't be so stingy. Get it off quickly, hum. After warning Gecko Kionzen again, Sarutobi Hiruzen walked to his desk and took a puff of his cigarette. As the smoke drifts away. This mission is an exploration mission to prepare for the subsequent war. The main thing is to find out the movements of Sunagakur village. It is best to detect the opponent's military strength profile. Tsukumo, you can tell the rest. As the leader of this mission, Hitoki Tsukumo can clearly see the importance and danger of this mission. I won't go into details about the importance of this mission. This time I will lead the team and go deep into the Kingdom of Wind. We may enter Sand Hidden Village directly. For this purpose, I specially found our village's concealment expert, Moonlight Chinshin. His penetration and flying thunder god skills are the first-hand guarantee for this mission. At this point, Tsukumo looked at Yugong Chinshin, who looked a little embarrassed. But the flying thunder god has great limitations, especially in teleporting others and teleporting everyone, so it's better not to use it until there is a crisis. Hitoki Tsukumo has already learned from Yamanaka Heichi what happened in Yuno Kuni. Yugong Chinshin just teleported him alone, which consumed a huge amount of chakra. Considering that he was still a teenager, the amount of chakra would not be too large, so Tsukumo directly used the Flying Thunder God as his final trump card. The Moonlight Clan, Moonlight Chinshin, spies. The Yamanaka Clan, Yamanaka Heichi, is responsible for security and perception. The Hyuga Clan, Hyuga Hikari, also serve as security guards. Takaru Aoyama, combatant. Tu Xing, combatant. Nozuki, medical staff. Hitoki Tsukumo told everyone in front of him the information. The personnel for this mission are elites he selected from various fields. On the one hand, they can ensure the success rate of the mission, and on the other hand, they can ensure the safety of the personnel. Hokage-sama, we are leaving. Now that the people have been assembled, let's set off directly. Under the leadership of Hitoki Tsukumo, the 7 people left the Hokage building directly and headed toward the southwest. At the same time, in the country of Wind, Sand Hidden Village. The harsh environment with flying dust has turned into excellent food for cultivating ninjas. In the Kazekage building, 3rd generation Kazekage Haneda Zeman looked at the information in his hand with a very calm expression. On the other side of his desk, 2 middle-aged men were standing. Haneda Zeman, in this war, I request to lead a surprise attack team. The speaker was a woman, wearing a long robe, with lavender hair, and her face was very serious when she spoke. The person next to him sighed slightly. Kazekage Haneda Zeman looked at her deeply and said, Chio, I know you are eager for revenge, but I have my own plans for the war with Konoha. You and Ebizo need to garrison Sunagakur village and command the medical ninja respectively. I won't let you go to the front line. Chio's son and daughter-in-law were killed by the Konoha White Fang in the last ninja war, which made her have a deep hatred for the White Fang, as well as Konoha village. HMPH. Is there anyone else more suitable to lead the charge besides me? Have you forgotten Hanzo? In the last great ninja war, if I hadn't gone to the front line, we would have suffered huge losses in Sunagakur village. Chio does not give in at all. She must go to the main battlefield with Konoha to kill the White Fang to avenge her son and daughter-in-law. Chio, don't forget, I am Kage. The raiding team has a commander, you don't need to say any more. Third generation Kage's voice remained unchanged, but the entire office suddenly vibrated. A large amount of black sand iron suddenly appeared in the office. Chio's expression changed slightly when he saw these sand irons. This is the secret skill of third generation Kage, magnet-style sand iron. At the same time, the third generation Kage also relies on this technique and is known as the most powerful Kage. Snort. Chio snorted coldly, turned and left. Ebizo asked Kage, "Who do you plan to hand over the raid team to?" Yi Kang. Third generation Kage didn't answer, just made a gesture of please. Ebizo said no more, turned around and left. Wait until the two of them left the office. Third generation Kage scattered the iron sand around him and continued to read the information without changing his expression. Ebizo was right, he had planned to send Yi Kang as the vanguard. After all, Yi Kang, who has the blood inheritance limit, is also a strong one in Sunagaku village. With her at the front, the effect will be much better. The yellow sand outside the window continued to rustle, and Sand Hidden Village was surrounded by yellow sand. A few days later, the team led by Hitoki Tsukumo finally entered the Kingdom of Wind. Looking at the endless desert in front of them, everyone's expressions were very rich. I really don't know how the Hidden Sand Village can stand in this piece of yellow sand. If it were me, I would have gone crazy. Moonlight Chinchin complained mercilessly. After all, the desert with no end in sight is indeed very speechless. It is precisely because of the harsh living environment that the ninjas in Sunagaku village generally have strong fighting abilities. It is also because of this that Sand Hidden Village has always coveted our fire country. Hitoki Tsukumo looked at the desert in front of him with a very cold tone. He had set foot here during the Second Ninja War, and killed many elite ninjas from Sunagaku village. His chakra ninja sword White Fang also became a god at this moment. Let's go into the desert and go straight to Sand Hidden Village. Hitoki Tsukumo brushes the line and steps into the desert. The rest followed closely behind. Just as everyone was on their way, Chome suddenly spoke. Why is it a desert? This guy Shukaku is so enjoyable. He was just a ball of sand. Why do I have to stay in the cave? I'm so angry. Listening to Chome's unwilling roar, Moonlight Chinchin smiled, which made her very happy. You are still laughing. I tell you, if you can meet Shukaku, I will give you my power. You can give him a hard slap. Why can I only be in a cave? But he can be in the desert. Moonlight Chinchin did not agree. Shukaku Jinchuriki of this period, if he remembered correctly, should be an old monk. A Jinchuriki who has been implanted into Shukaku since he was a child and has been stable for his entire life. Chome, is there a possibility that Shukaku has also been sealed? Just because you don't have Jinchuriki doesn't mean he doesn't have one. And do you think Shukaku can meet a Jinchuriki as good as me? Chome was stunned for a moment. Yes, he didn't have Jinchuriki, Shukaku didn't necessarily have one. In an instant, the anger in his heart disappeared a lot. Boy Chinchin, you were right. That stinky Tanuki will definitely not be able to meet a Jinchuriki like you. Ha 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 ha, I feel better instantly. Since Chome left the sealed place of Takigakur village, his mentality is getting better day by day. After running in the desert for who knows how long, Konoha's team finally saw the Sunagaku village in the distance. It was a ninja village surrounded by yellow sand. Hitoki Tsukumo led everyone to find a very secluded place for repairs. Ahead is Sunagaku village. Chinchin, what are you going to do? After all, Moonlight Chinchin is the core of this mission, and only he can enter Sand Hidden Village without anyone noticing. Just go in. Sunagaku village doesn't have waterfall defense like Takigakur village. I took advantage of the darkness and directly opened the escape and sneaked in. Then Gecko Chizun took out a kunai from the pocket he carried with him and handed it to Hitoki Tsukumo. This is my Flying Thunder God technique kunai, Tsukumo-sama, you must take it. I don't want to be able to fly out. Hitoki Tsukumo nodded heavily and put the kunai away. Actually, I want Yamanaka Heichi to enter with you. After all, he is a sentient ninja, and he can also read memories. We need to figure out the troop allocation of Sunagaku village this time. Yamanaka on the side nodded, and then looked at Yugong Chinshin on the side. Yes, I have to bring someone in, which is troublesome. Forget it, for Heichi's sake, I admit it. I'll go in first, then launch the Flying Thunder God to take him in. This way we won't alert others. Hitaki Tsukumo nodded. Actually, this is what he thought. After all, with the Flying Thunder God technique, it is very easy to bring people in. Although it will consume a certain amount of chakra, the effect is still very acceptable. Then rest, and when night falls, start taking action. I will be stationed here to receive you. Immediately, everyone began to sit on the ground, and Yugong Chinshin found a comfortable position to lie down and close his eyes to relax. Everyone who saw what he did couldn't help but chuckle. The mission was about to be carried out. He was in a good mood and not nervous at all. Yugong Chinshin. Nonsense. If any of you are nervous, I won't be nervous either. At worst, I'll just run away. Sunagakur Village, Cage Building. There were two people standing in front of third-generation Cage Haneda Zeman, a man and a woman. The man has tattoos on his face and is dressed in black. The woman has birch and green hair, which is very beautiful. Yi Kang, I'm leaving this surprise team to you. Janchi, forward troops, you are the captain. I hope you two don't disappoint me. Third-generation Cage looked at the person in front of him with a hint of hope on his face. Hayakura, a blood successor Scorch-style ninja, possesses the strength of elite Jonin under his beautiful appearance, and is a rare talent in Sunagakur Village. Kamaki is a disciple of Chiyo, but unlike Chiyo, Kamaki has always been under the command of Haneda Zeman. He is very powerful in puppetry and has 5 powerful puppets. Yes, Lord Cage. Both of them accepted the errand and walked out of Cage's office. Logically speaking, the raid team should be led by me, Yi Kang. I hope you won't disappoint Mr. Cage. Although Yi Kang is a blood successor ninja, Kamaki doesn't take her seriously at all. She's just a woman with some ability. Lian Qi is such a person, arrogant, and completely disdainful of anyone. Humph, you guys who are playing puppets, you don't need to say more. Yi Kang didn't have a good temper either, so he turned around and left. It was obvious that these two people were not of the same mind at all. As night fell, Yugong Chinshin, who was still sleeping, suddenly woke up. Looking at the moon that had risen in the sky, he moved his body. All eyes were on him. Tsukumo-sama, I'm going. Tsukumo nodded, and under the gaze of everyone, Yugong Chinshin smiled slightly. His body gradually became elusive, and within a few breaths he had disappeared in front of everyone. Is this just a way to escape? There really isn't even a trace of breath. Chinshin Ken looked at the Moonlight Chinshin that had disappeared and showed a hint of admiration. This was the first time he had seen the limits of blood inheritance of the Moonlight clan. Also surprised was Hyuga Hikaru, who had opened his Byakugan. The Byakugan, which can clearly see through objects, actually lost its function this time. He actually couldn't see the Moonlight Chinshin with the translucency turned on. It's unbelievable that even Byan can't see his whereabouts. Of course, my translucency is to make my body completely transparent. I'm already transparent, what else can you see? Yugong Chinshin, who had not yet left, smiled. Only his voice was heard but his person was not seen. This scene made everyone full of confidence in this mission. Okay, Chinshin, hurry up and pay attention to safety. Don't worry, Lord White Fang. Well, before I leave, Tsukumo-sama, please give me some advice. Just when Tsukumo looked confused, he suddenly felt something was wrong. At this moment, the sound of Moonlight Chinshin sounded again. Konoha style. Mysteries of Taijutsu. 1,000 years of killing. Hitaki Tsukumo, you fool brat, how dare you use the technique I invented against me? Snort. Hitaki Tsukumo, who was holding back the pain, punched the Moonlight Chinshin head with a vicious punch. He directly hit the latter with a huge bulge on his head. I was wrong. Tsukumo-sama, it has obviously been used, so why is there no harm? Gecko Chizun looked at Hitaki Tsukumo who had not changed much and fell into self-doubt. Go and perform your mission quickly. Amidst Hitaki Tsukumo's roar, Moonlight Chinshin reluctantly activated his Tuyu again and walked towards Sunagakur Village. Brat, I'm so angry. Looking at Hitaki Tsukumo's slightly distorted face, Yi Yu on the side couldn't help but ask. Tsukumo-sama, are you okay? Do you need me to check on you? It was obviously a well-intentioned inquiry, but what he received in response was a look full of malice and a very cold word. No, I'm fine. I'll go on patrol and you can rest where you are. Then Hotake Sakumo walked toward the outskirts of the temporary camp alone. After Sakumo came out, he couldn't hold back any longer. This kid is so cruel. He hit the target right on target. You actually used my skills to deal with me. Ouch. This guy's tricks are really dark. Moonlight Chinshin, who walked to the gate of Sand Hidden Village, was still thinking about the 1,000-year kill just now. He followed the instructions exactly, gathered strength, aimed at the bull's eye, and thrust out with all his strength. Why doesn't it work? Is it possible that because this technique was invented by Hotake Sakumo, he is immune to it? This is unscientific. Okay, Chinshin kid, don't think about it anymore. That guy named Hotake Sakumo is obviously holding back. Your attack was definitely successful, but where did you learn such a disgusting technique? It's so perverted. Chomei looked at Moonlight Chinshin with a tiger seal and stabbed chrysanthemums with both fingers. Even he, Seven Tails, felt his whole body tremble with this blow. Too perverted. It was invented by Sakumo-sama. He is known as Konoha White Fang, and this nickname is due to this technique. That means my millennium killing worked, but he just endured it. Tisk tisk, I have to say, White Fang is White Fang, this endurance is awesome. Yugong Chinshin looked at the gate of Sand Hidden Village in front of him and gathered his thoughts. Although his head still hurt, the task at the moment was important. There are also many ninjas standing guard in Sand Hidden Village at night. Although he has turned on his escape, he still has to be careful. He leaned against the wall and walked slowly towards the inside. Entering Sand Hidden Village, well, it's a piece of yellow sand. Even the house was made of sand. At this moment, Yugong Chinshin couldn't help but have a question in his mind. This place is full of yellow sand, what should I do if I take a bath? With this question in mind, he walked in Sand Hidden Village. Suddenly he saw two familiar words, soup house. Oh, Sunagakur Village actually has a bathing place. Yugong Chinshin slapped his forehead suddenly, he was also stupid. Water is a more important resource in this desert than gold. The reason why Sunagakur Village was built here proves that there must be an underground river beneath Sunagakur Village. Otherwise, how could such a large ninja village survive? Immediately, his legs walked towards the soup house uncontrollably. Well, he just had a look and would definitely not delay the mission. With curiosity, Yugong Chinshin went directly to the hot spring house, the female hot spring bath. He carefully climbed up to the roof and activated his insect eyes. In an instant, everything in the soup house came into view. It was already late at night, there were only a few people in the soup house, and there was only one person in the female soup house. In the fog that filled the room, Yugong Chinshin saw a scene that he would never forget in his life. That is a perfect female back. Beautiful, touching. He felt his nose was a little hot and quickly covered it with his hands. He can be considered a veteran at this, so we can see how lethal the back is that can make his blood flow. But soon he suppressed the throbbing in his heart because he had recognized the person in front of him. With birch and green hair color, she has the most beautiful back in the entire Hokage. Still in Sunagakur Village, isn't the person in front of me the future hero of Sand Hidden Village, Scorch-style ninja, Yi Kang? Moonlight Chinshin's eyes were slightly solemn, but he didn't expect to see this tragic Sunagakur hero just after entering Sunagakur Village. But she was taking a bath so late. There is something mentioned here. It stands to reason that this time period is the time to fall asleep. If you are not sleeping, unless you are on a mission, and the other person is taking a bath at this time, it is obviously not on a mission. Then there is only another possibility. The other party was just invited by some people and came to take a bath to relax after it was over. Based on Yakura's strength and status in Sunagakur Village, apart from Kazekage, the only people who can be invited to work with him are Chiyo and other veteran cadres. She must know some information. It has to be said that Moonlight Chinshin's intelligence acquisition is exactly the same as Jiraiya's. Regardless of location or thinking, there are challenges, but this kind of intelligence collection is often the most effective. For a moment, Yugong Chinshin directly determined the target. It's her, Scorch-style Yi Kang. But soon Yugong Chinshin fell into deep thought. You must know that the opponent's strength is not weak, and the blood limit of Scorch style is very powerful. It can instantly evaporate the water in the opponent's body, turning the opponent into a mummy. He has not lived in Yugong Qinshan yet, and he does not want to become a mummy. The best way is to sneak attack. But if you want to sneak attack an elite Jonin in Sand Hidden Village, you can imagine how difficult it is. He had no choice but to turn to his little friend Chomei for help. Chomei, can your phosphorus paralyze her? Paralysis, hypnosis, whatever. Chomei perked up immediately upon hearing this. That must be possible. Who do you want to paralyze? Let me see. Ha, female, Qinshan boy, you don't want to rob me of girl, do you? Let me tell you, this kind of thing is not good. You are still young, but this woman looks older than you. You can't control her. Having lived with Moonlight Qinshan for almost a year, Chomei knows what kind of existence his Jinchuriki is. But I didn't expect that this kid was so obsessed that he was still thinking about this during the mission. Bah, Chomei, don't talk nonsense. This is for a mission. I want to explore the information in her mind. Do you understand? Of course, she is indeed very attractive, ha, ha. Okay, just tell me if your phosphorus powder can handle it. Let me tell you, the opponent is a ninja with the blood limit of Scorch style. I'm afraid that your phosphorus powder will be evaporated by the opponent's Scorch style before you get close to him. Upon hearing this, Chomei felt relieved and assured with great confidence. Don't worry, even Son Goku's lava style can't melt my phosphorus powder. After all, I am also a tailed beast, and my phosphorus powder is unique. Looking at Yi Kang, who was about to finish washing, Yugong Qinshan gritted his teeth and stamped his feet, and he was done. Chomei, prepare the phosphorus powder to make you unconscious. Comatose. Don't want to be paralyzed. No, I have to take her away. After all, I have to get information from her memory. Okay, this is not only using phosphorus powder to carry out evil methods but also kidnapping people. Chomei couldn't help but give Moonlight Qinshan a thumbs up. If this fool hadn't been able to hold back his nosebleed, he would have really believed it. Come on, I'll give you the phosphorus powder. I don't care how you use it. But it's not my fault. How did you fall in love with such an ugly girl? The blood is still surging. Tisk tisk, Qinshan boy, it's time for you to change your aesthetics. Moonlight Qinshan almost spit out blood. Yi Kang is an ugly girl. Chomei, you old bug, I don't care about you. As Chomei's chakra began to flow into Gecko Chisen's body, the phosphorus powder condensed successfully in an instant. Yi Kang, who was enjoying a hot bath to wash away his tired body, had no idea that someone was coveting her. At this time, she was thinking about what to eat when she goes home later. After all, it has been a busy day. As one of the few elite Jonin in Sunagakur village, her daily tasks are very heavy. She had to help Cascade share the affairs and other trivial matters, which made her very tired. At this time, Yugong Qinshan had condensed a sufficient amount of phosphorus powder, and at the same time, he himself had entered the female bathhouse. Ninpo. Phosphorus powder. Hypnosis. Suddenly a male voice suddenly sounded. Yi Kang, who was leaning against the bathtub with her eyes closed to relax, suddenly woke up, and then she felt a gas surrounding her. Who? Just as the word, who, was about to escape her lips, Yi Kang felt sleepy all over her body. Even though she was on guard, the heavy sleepiness made her unable to stop her from shouting out even a single word. The next second, Yi Kang lost consciousness and fell into a deep sleep. Seeing the naked beauty in front of her, Moonlight Qinshan couldn't help but feel her blood surge. This time I couldn't bear it any longer, and my nosebleed came out. He had already released his penetrating escape and couldn't help but wipe it quickly. But the nosebleed seemed to not stop. No matter how he wiped it, it continued to flow. In desperation, he could only tear up his clothes and block his nose. Then he quickly took a bath towel from the clothes hanger nearby and suppressed the heat in his heart. Pack the leaf barn. Then he picked up Yi Kang, and just as he was about to discover the Flying Thunder God's technique, he realized something was wrong. He had just entered Sand Hidden Village and had not left any spell coordinates at all. If you want to fly, you can only fly to Hitaki Tsukumo. This is not possible. Even though Yi Kang is from Sunagakur village, she is still a great beauty. He hasn't seen enough himself, so how can he let the other party see it? For a moment, Yugong Qinshan fell into deep thought. One side is a task, the other side is a beauty, It's so confusing. He is not the kind of person who would give up a beautiful woman just for a mission. What's more, the person in front of me has the most beautiful back in the entire Hokage world. If he could, he really wanted to abduct Yi Kang directly. After all, it would be a shame that such a beauty would die due to machinations in the future. Scorch style is a combination of wind and fire, a very offensive blood inheritance limit, and only Yi Kang owns it in the entire ninja world. For a time, Yugong Qinshan even had the idea of bringing Yi Kang back to Konoha. Chome, do you think I should take her away? Chome, look what I'm saying, you fool just fell in love with this ugly girl and wanted to take her away. That's your business and has nothing to do with me. But Qinshan boy, you came here with a mission. If you just bring an ugly girl back, what will your teammates think of you? Tisk, tisk, I have discovered that you are a master who is not a human being. Last time you went to Takigakure village, you kidnapped me. This time you came to Sunagakure village and actually kidnapped a ninja who has inherited the blood limit. Moonlight Qinshan was a little embarrassed by what Chome said, but he didn't care what his teammates thought. Would he, a prodigal, care about what others thought? You know what he did in the village, and if you mention anything at random, you will be ruined, but is he afraid? Come on, his cheating plug-in is, shameless people are invincible. He won't do anything that's embarrassing. I don't care. I'm just thinking about how to take her away now. My penetration can't bring anyone with me. Flying Thunder God didn't prepare the technique in advance. Forget it, I can just take her out. In the end, Yugong Qinshan didn't want to think about it anymore, so he just flew out with Thunder God. At worst, just put some clothes on her and that's it. Thinking of this, the corners of Yugong Qinshan's mouth turned up unconsciously. Getting dressed, it's a big job. After all, the person in front of her is a beautiful woman. First, help her put on her tight-fitting clothes, and then. The following are charges and cannot be discussed in detail. I looked it up for everyone, you can make up your own mind. After 10 minutes, Yugong Qinshan endured the dry mouth and put on Yi Kang's clothes with trembling hands. These 10 minutes are really wonderful for Moonlight Qinshan, tisk tisk tisk. But there is still a task to be done right now, and the next step is to activate the Flying Thunder God technique. As the technique was activated, Yugong Qinshan hugged Yi Kang and disappeared directly into the women's bathroom. Little did he know that it was his act of dressing Yi Kang that brought him so much trouble. The third-generation Kazekage Haneda Zeman, who is still working at this time, is the strongest person among all the Kazekage. At this time, he frowned. The reason why Haneda Zeman is called the strongest Kazekage is entirely because of his magnet-style sand iron, which is an extremely special product. It integrates offense and defense, and can also be used for perception and detection. As the war approached, he dispersed his iron sand very covertly on various elite ninjas in order to detect their movements. Just now, he suddenly lost contact with part of his iron sand. And the connection was cut off instantly. You must know that he has mastered magnet style and has never been in this situation. There are only two possibilities in the current situation. The first is that his sand iron was artificially destroyed. The second is that her sand iron is too far away from him, causing the sand manipulation technique to disconnect. My sand and iron are indestructible, and the iron sand I left on everyone's bodies is in a dispersed state. Even if it turns into powder, it still has the effect of sand and iron. Then it can only be exceeding controlled distance. For a moment, Haneda Zeman was a little confused. His magnet style had a very wide range. Unless it was more than 100 meters away, how could it possibly exceed the distance? Is there an intruder? The amount of sand iron that has been lost is 7 grams. Yi Kang. 7 grams of sand iron is the amount of sand iron he put on Yi Kang. Determine the missing person from the details. As expected, every ninja who can serve as a shadow is a genius among geniuses. Someone is coming. The originally peaceful night was completely broken by the roar of third-generation Kazekage. Moonlight Qinshan sneaked into Sand Hidden Village for only a few hours. Yamanaka Heichi is ready to go and is waiting for Gecko Chizan to come back and take him into Sand Hidden Village. The two of them collect information together. The rest are responsible for security work. But they all knew very well that Yugong Qinshan, who had just sneaked in, could not come back so soon. After all, just a few hours are not enough for Yugong Qinshan to understand the topography of Sand-Hidden Village. Hitaki Sakumo was looking in the direction of Sunagakure village from a distance at this time. For some reason, he always felt that something was going to happen and he felt uneasy. Suddenly a breath suddenly appeared behind him. He subconsciously drew his knife and slashed towards the back. Holy shit, don't cut, it's me. Hearing a familiar voice, the knife that was about to cut was stopped abruptly. Thousands of mountains, why are you back? Also, who are you holding in your arms? Hitaki Sakumo's eyes widened and he looked at the Moonlight Mountains behind him. The key is that this boy is holding a person in his arms, or is it a woman? What is going on? Sakumo-sama, your reaction is so fast. If I shouted slower, would my head be separated? Depend on. Moonlight Qinshan, who walked around in front of Shinigami, was furious. I had clearly mentioned it to him, but this guy actually dropped the knife on me. Hehehe, sorry, conditioned reflex. Hitaki Sakumo took the knife back with some embarrassment. Then he took back his smile and looked at him seriously. Qinshan, what's wrong with you? Why did you come back so soon? Also, who is the person in your arms? The sudden change had awakened the rest of the team and quickly gathered together. Everyone's eyes stayed on the person in Yugong Qinshan's arms. Hey, what's that look in your eyes? This is a female ninja from Sunagakure village. Gecko Chizun is very unhappy with the way people around him look at him. Even Hitaki Sakumo and Yamanaka Heichi are so weird. He brought it back for the mission. Then he began to tell what happened. At the same time, the entire village of Sand-Hidden has been invaded by soldiers. Elite Jonin Kamaki is the first to arrive at the Cage building. Cage-sama, what happened? Although Cage is proud, he is absolutely loyal to Cage. He was also the first to arrive. Kamaki, something happened to Yi Kang. A spy from another village came into our village. I don't know what means were used to take Yi Kang out of the village instantly. You should lead the team immediately and chase towards Konoha. Third generation Cage looked slightly serious as he passed his analysis just now. He had confirmed that someone must have been sent from Konoha. A war is imminent, and the people sent here at this time must be to investigate the military configuration of their village. It was obvious that the person who came here also knew Yi Kang's strength and importance, so they chose to kidnap Yi Kang. Yi Kang, HMPH, I know this woman is more likely to fail than succeed. I'll lead the team to chase him right now. Jian Qi looked disdainful, but still pursued decisively. Looking at Cage leaving, third generation Cage's face was still very serious. This time things are so strange. He knew Yi Kang's strength. He was definitely at the level of elite Jonin. If he could take him away quietly, who could come? Suddenly a face flashed in his mind, and then his face became increasingly ugly. Come here, go and call Elder Chenio. After listening to the description of Moonlight Qinshan, everyone, including Hitaki Sakumo, was stunned. Who would go to the soup house to get information? No, there really is someone, Jiraiya, one of the Sanin. But who would directly kidnap someone else's elite Jonin after obtaining information? If it is true as Moonlight Qinshan said, the person in front of me is still one of the few blood successor ninjas in Sunagakure village. Are you sure she is the elite Jonin of Sunagakure village? You don't have evil intentions just because you think the other person looks good. Tu Xing's expression was very strange. He didn't know much about Yugong Qinshan, but based on the situation in front of him, he felt that the other party was a pervert. Nonsense. Am I that kind of person? Heichi, tell me, am I the kind of person who gives up on missions just because of beauty? Yugong Qinshan prides himself on not being a good person, and part of the reason why he captured Yi Kang is because of his beauty. But he can admit to himself that he is a pervert, but he can never say that he is a pervert from others. Yes, the moonlight covered Qinshan instantly, and his eyes looking at Yamanaka Heichi were full of malice. Okay, Qinshan, tell me, are you serious? Hitaki Sakumo stopped everyone's random speculation. Yugong Qinshan nodded extremely seriously after hearing this. Heichi, please confirm. As members of the Yamanaka clan, perception and detection are their strengths. Good. Qinshan, adjust her position. I can easily use my mind-reading skills. Moonlight Chinshin straightened Hayakura in his arms so that she was facing Yamanaka Heichi. I saw Yamanaka Heichi put his right hand on Hagura's head. Ninjutsu, the art of reading minds. As the probing ninjutsu was activated, Yamanaka Heichi closed his eyes. He is reading Yi Kang's memory. Yi Kang, you will command the surprise attack team. Lord Yakura, your scorch style is too strong. Lord Yi Kang, I love you, please marry me. A series of memories began to flow through. Soon, Yamanaka Heichi opened his eyes. Then he nodded and said, Chinshin is right, this woman is indeed the elite Jonin of Sunagakure village, and has the scorch style blood inheritance limit. Most importantly, third generation Kazekage personally appointed her as the surprise attack captain. Hearing Yamanaka Heichi's words, everyone showed a hint of surprise. Unexpectedly, what Moonlight Chinshin said was true. Darling, if that's the case, then this kid's mission must have been completed too quickly. Even Hitaki Tsukumo was surprised at this time. It only takes a few hours to go from Moonlight Chinshin to Sand Hidden Village and back. Not only did he find the right person, he brought him out. It's just that this method may not be very good. After all, it doesn't sound good to say that it stuns a woman. Snort, you people, you are so superficial, you still want to accuse me wrongly. Wait until I get back and report you properly to Mr. Third Generation. After hearing the confirmation from Yamanaka Heichi, Gekko Chinshin became nervous and spat at his teammates with a look of displeasure on his face. Ha ha ha, yes, Chinshin, choosing you to carry out the mission is my most correct choice this time. In that case, take this woman with you and return to Konoha. Hitaki Tsukumo laughed and immediately issued a return order. At this moment, Yamanaka Heichi suddenly looked in the direction of Sunagakure village, his eyes becoming extremely serious. Just as he was about to speak, he heard a voice suddenly coming from afar. HMPH, it is indeed you Konoha rats. It's a wonderful idea to leave the country of winds just like this. Leave Yi Kang behind. Hikaru, Heichi, what's the number of enemies? Hitaki Tsukumo didn't have any problem with Sunagakure finding them. After all, Moonlight Chinshin directly brought out all the elite Jonin. If Sunagakure village didn't notice any movement, it would be a waste. But when he looked at Yugong Chinshin's confused look, he was a little curious about how Sunagakure village learned about Yi Kang's disappearance. Chinshin, were you followed when you left? Yugong Chinshin shook his head. He was the flying thunder god who launched it directly in the bathhouse. Who could detect it? It must be some kind of secret skill, otherwise you wouldn't be discovered with your ability. Hitaki Tsukumo trusts Gekko Chizen very much. After all, he is very clear about the abilities of Tudun and Flying Thunder God. And Yugong Chinshin himself was a little depressed. I've done 2 missions, and every time I go out and come back, enemies come. Is he out of luck? He was obviously very confident in his ability to hide, but the last time Kumogakure and this time Sunagakure made him even less confident. Just then, Chomei appeared. Kid Chinshin, I think you need to go and see. There is such an ninjutsu in my long life. It's very mysterious and illusory. The person who gets hit can't react at all, and the effect is very weird. That's bad luck. No matter what you do, you will be unlucky. If you don't stop it, you will be unlucky for the rest of your life. Listening to Chomei's obviously suppressed laughter, Yugong Chinshin really wanted to punch him on the head. Although it sounded so true, he promised that Chomei deliberately made him angry. Ever since he brought Chomei out and became his Jinchuriki, Chomei's heart has opened up more and more, and the whole bug has come alive. Tsukumo-sama, the number is not very large, 13. Hyuga Hikari opened his eyes, Yamanaka relied on his perception, and the numbers they found were the same. Hitaki Tsukumo nodded and said disdainfully, 13 people really look down on me. These words really made a few people who were waiting for him laugh out loud. After all, Konoha White Fang represents the absolute pinnacle of combat power. When the ninjas from Sunagakure village gathered around, Tsukumo recognized the leader at a glance. Oh, who do I think you are? It turns out to be Chiyo's disciple. If I remember correctly, your name is Kamaki. Puppet Master, Lien Chi. While Tsukumo was speaking, Kamaki also saw Hitaki Tsukumo, and his expression changed drastically in an instant. It's you, Hitaki Tsukumo. I didn't expect that the famous Konoha Whitefang would also start intelligence work. Konoha is really getting worse and worse. Although he said that, Lien Qi had already entered a fighting state. He also gave a signal to the ninjas of Sunagakur village, ready to attack at any time. I am a ninja, and it is my bounden duty to perform tasks. No matter what the mission is, we have to carry it out. Why, with such a small number of people, you want to stop me? To be honest, Hitaki Tsukumo doesn't really like intelligence missions. His character is direct and straightforward, and he doesn't even bother to hide and hide. He is completely opposite to Yugong Chinshin. Humph, let Yi Kang go, otherwise, we can only do one here. Lien Qi casually took out 4 scrolls, and 4 sounds sounded one after another. The proud work of the puppet master Janchi, the armored puppet. In the last battle, I remember that I chopped all your puppets into pieces. It has been remade over the years. It looks much stronger than before. During the Second Ninja War, Hitaki Tsukumo unleashed a powerful force on Kamui on the battlefield with Sunagakur village. He killed dozens of puppet masters in Sand Hidden Village in succession, and Kamaki was one of the surviving puppet masters. He relied on the armor puppets he made. This kind of puppet is mainly made of iron, and its defense power is amazing. Moreover, each piece of armor has spikes and poison, and the puppet is large enough to place him inside. HMPH. For all these years, I have been looking forward to fighting you again. This time, it won't be so easy for you to chop my puppet into pieces. Do it. Take back Yi Kang. Without saying a word, Jianqi directly issued the order to attack. Chinshin, Heichi, take that woman with you and retreat. Tuxing, Chingshin, let's go. Hitaki Tsukumo took the lead, exuding a murderous aura. Tu Xing suddenly jumped up high, his right hand landed heavily on the sand, and he shouted loudly, "Earth-style, crack the earth and turn the palm." Everyone in Sunagakur village did not expect that someone other than Konoha Whitefang would take the lead, so they had no choice but to defend quickly. But something amazing happened. Tu Xing's right fist had landed heavily on the sand, and even his fist was covered by the sand. As a result, his technique didn't activate at all. Tu Xing himself was confused. What happened? Why is there no response from his all-conquering earth style? Brother, what's under your fist is not the ground, it's the desert. Yugong Chinshin had just picked up Yi Kang and was about to run away when he saw Tu Xing taking action. Seeing Tu Xing's confused look, he had no choice but to remind him. Earth-style earth-splitting palm. This technique is an offensive ninjutsu of earth style. It concentrates chakra in the palm of the hand, hits the ground, cracks the earth, and attacks the enemy. But now they are not on the ground, but on a piece of yellow sand. If you use the ninjutsu that separates the ground to hit the yellow sand, will the sand listen to you? How funny. For how many years Sunagakur village has been standing, its ninja grandmaster's skill is either puppetry or sand manipulation, or even worse, wind escape ninjutsu. Which Sunagakur village ninja have you seen grandmaster earth-style ninjutsu? A piece of sand makes you play earth-style. Are you out of your mind? Moonlight Chinshin is really speechless. After Yugong Chinshin's reminder, Tu Xing reacted instantly. Unexpectedly, his technique was useless against sand. Even Hitaki Tsukumo was a little surprised. He was still waiting for Tokyo's technique to faint, but he didn't expect such a result. But he soon understood that if earth style could really work on sand. Back then, there was no need for the second-generation Kazekage Samana to invent the sand manipulation technique. He could just use earth style to control the sand. It seems that sand and earth cannot be discussed together. Yes, Chinshin boy has to pay attention to the details. Ha ha ha, Hitaki Tsukumo, are all the team members you lead idiots? Kill me. Lien Qi controlled 4 armored puppets to come forward. Each puppet's body shone with metallic luster. It was obvious that the bodies of these puppets were very hard. Wind escape. Wind and dust technique. The 4 ninjas directly joined forces to launch a large-scale wind release ninjutsu. The art of dust, spitting out highly compressed smoke and dust from the mouth, and the violent wind generated by the many smoke and dust with chakra will swallow everything in sight. Originally, the power of this technique was not very high, but if 4 ninjas jointly launched it at the same time, the effect would be extraordinary. Watching a large area of yellow sand containing chakra sweep towards you. Hitaki Tsukumo moved. The white chakra short sword White Fang seemed to appear out of thin air and landed firmly on Hitoki Tsukumo's hand. The terrifying chakra surges above the White Fang, its sharp edge seems to be able to split everything in two. This is the Hitoki sword technique. Using the extremely advanced method of chakra flow, one fell sword is almost indestructible. Even ninjutsu can be cut off abruptly. This knife looks extremely simple, but you must know that reducing complexity to simplicity is often a return to nature. Swordsmanship is designed to cut people in half. No matter how you swing the sword, there is only one purpose, and that is to kill the opponent, nothing more. This sword fell. In the eyes of Yugong Chinshin, it was just for treating bells and whistles. A knife flashed past, and the yellow sand was split into two pieces like a piece of paper. The four Sunagaku ninjas suddenly looked horrified. This joint ninjutsu was a technique the four of them had practiced for a long time. It has always been successful, but I didn't expect it to be cracked so easily today. And the solution is so simple, just one knife. Don't be dazed. Who do you think he is? He is the Konoha White Fang. Treat him as a hokage. Puppetry. Thousand Needle Dolphin. Lien Qi's somewhat angry voice suddenly sounded. Then the four armored puppets were activated instantly, and spikes appeared on the puppet's body. The puppet, which is as big as a ball, does look a bit like a puffer fish from a distance. But don't underestimate these spikes. As a puppet master, in addition to puppets, they are also masters of poison. These spikes are all filled with his unique poison. Don't get touched by those puppets. Chinshin, Pingyi, retreat quickly. Hitoki Tsukumo stepped forward again with his sword, followed closely by Doyuki and Aoyama Ken. Earth style. Fist rock jutsu. The sand won't let me play with it. I'll make my own rock shop. Two Zing's fists were instantly wrapped in heavy rocks, without any fancy movements. A punch landed directly on the armor puppet, and a heavy punch directly knocked away a pufferfish puppet. Ha ha ha, Tu Xing, you made me laugh so hard. Water style water wave hand. Chinshin Ken's way of dealing with the puppet was much gentler. He raised his right hand without any seal. A water column instantly spurted out from his palm, directly blocking the puppet with the force of the water. At the same time, Moonlight Chinshin, Yamanaka Heichi and others ran away. Don't let them get away. Split out a few people and chase them. Our reinforcements are on the way. Don't be timid. Stop them. Puppet technique. Needle Shigur. Seeing that the enemy was about to run, Lien Qi swung violently, and a pufferfish puppet instantly chased in the direction of Yugong Chinshin and others. At the same time, the spikes on his body burst out like chinbin, directly covering the direction of Yugong Chinshin and the others. Keep running. 8 trigrams palms. Empty palms. Hyuga Hikaru suddenly turned around, and when he opened his Byakugan, he took all the spikes into his eyes. The next second, several shock waves instantly rose into the air, shattering all the spikes that attacked them. It is the 8 trigrams air palm of the Hyuga family. This is a rare long-range attack ability of the Hyuga family. It releases a vacuum shock wave and cooperates with the Byakugan to carry out long-range attacks, which is very powerful. Don't run. In addition to the ninjas who blocked Hitoki Tsukumo and others, there were a total of 6 ninjas chasing Gecko Senzen and others. Seeing that their leader's attack was blocked, they all started to attack. Countless shurikens and kunai were shot instantly. Many of them have detonating symbols attached to them. That's a lot. Hyuga Hikaru volunteered to resist the enemy, and the pressure suddenly increased. Just when he was about to defend, a figure instantly appeared behind him. Walk. Water style. Water barrier. Under the influence of chakra, a stream of water rising to the sky instantly erupted on this piece of yellow sand, blocking all enemy attacks. Boom. When the detonating talisman touches the water barrier, it explodes instantly. For a time, the moisture evaporated and the water vapor covered the battlefield. The person who came was none other than Takeshi Aoyama, who ran over to provide support as soon as he saw the enemy pursuing him. Although he failed to block the first wave of attacks, he finally arrived at the second wave of attacks. Green Mountain. Stop talking nonsense. Run. Bring that female ninja back, that's the mission. Hyuga Hikaru looked at the determination on his teammate's face, and he couldn't help but blush a little. But the task was very important right now, so he gritted his teeth and turned around to leave. Guys from Sunagaku village, Lousy will play with you. Taken Aoyama pulled out a kunai and launched a direct countercharge. 1 against 6, he was not afraid at all. Yugong Chinshin looked back and saw this scene, and couldn't help feeling a little emotional. The ninjas of this period really regarded their missions as more important than their lives. Alas, it is precisely because of this that Hitoki Sakumo in the original work was criticized for this. With Qingshan Jian's help, Yugong Chinshin and the others quickly moved away from the battlefield. He didn't know how long he had been running, but he felt very tired. Please, he is still holding someone, and he is holding him very tightly, for fear that the person will fall out. Ahead are the abandoned ruins, which are also the buildings on the escape route we and Sakumo-sama had planned before. Let's go there to take a rest. Along the way, Hyuga Hikaru kept his eyes blank, and soon he found a relatively safe place. Everyone nodded and immediately ran towards the ruins. Leaning against a broken wall, Yugong Chinshin rubbed his legs unconsciously. He had always flown whenever he could, but running so far in one breath was so exhausting for him. I don't know how Sakumo-senpai and the others are doing. Why? Medical ninja Nozuki looked very gloomy. Nothing will happen to him. Sakumo-sama's strength is not inferior to that of Hokage-sama, and his sword skills are unrivaled. There are only a few Sunagaku ninjas, but he will be fine. Hyuga Mitsudo admires Hitoki Sakumo very much and has full confidence in him. Okay, stop talking, let's take a rest first, and when our strength recovers, we will continue running. Can't delay in this desert. I'll stand guard and someone will take my place soon. The night was still going on, and none of them expected that they who were preparing for the mission a second ago would have completed the mission this night and were being chased away. Change can never keep up with change, so they can only accept it. Yugong Chinshin had already closed his eyes to rest, but he was not sleeping. Instead, he was feeling the position of Hitoki Sakumo and others through the technique. You must know that Hitoki Sakumo has been holding his kunai with the technique engraved on it. With this, he can feel Hitoki Sakumo's movements. Suddenly he felt the kunai moving quickly. Then he opened his eyes suddenly. Lightman, 9 o'clock, let's see if anyone is coming. Moonlight Chinshin suddenly shouted, startling everyone. Hyuga Kojin, who was just about to take a nap, instantly became strong and opened his eyes and looked towards the 9 o'clock direction. This sight really made him discover something. Someone. No. Nozuki, get ready, someone is injured. In his sight, Hitoki Sakumo was running towards here quickly with Takeru Aoyama on his back. Soon Hitoki Sakumo and others appeared in front of them. Hitoki Sakumo's body was stained red with blood, but his breath was very steady, and it was obvious that these blood stains were not his. But Qingshan Jian behind him was in very bad condition. He was carried behind Hitoki Sakumo, with shurikens and kunai stuck in his back. Although Tu Xing looked miserable and there were wounds all over his body, they were all superficial injuries. Sakumo-sama, put Qingshan down quickly and I'll treat him. Tu Xing, you go to the other side and wait. I'll treat you after I treat Qing Sanji. Nozuki instantly entered the state. She was a healing ninja, and it was her duty to help her teammates heal. Sakumo-sama, are you okay? Yamanaka came to Hitoki Sakumo and found that his face was a little ugly. Hitoki Sakumo shook his head. Yui, you have to hurry up, there are a lot of pursuers behind you. Everyone was slightly shocked, there were still pursuers. Originally, Lien Qi and others were no match for us. Sakumo-sama killed 6 of them in minutes. Just when we were about to retreat, that old woman from Chio appeared. 10 puppets, if I hadn't used rocks to block them, I would probably be dead. And there are a bunch of dark things in the sky, which are so destructive that even my rocks can't stop them. Tu Xing took the kettle from Yugong Chinshin and drank a few gulps. It was obvious that the battle just now had greatly stimulated this strong man. That dark thing, Sakumo-sama, is it the 3rd generation Cage? Yugong Chinshin's heart skipped a beat when he thought of Cage, who was known as the strongest. Well, Nozuki, how long will it take for Aoyama's injury to heal? Sakumo-sama, he was injured too seriously. In addition to the wounds on his back, he was also poisoned and his condition is very bad. My Palm Sage Jutsu can only temporarily stabilize his condition, and he will need follow-up treatment. Nozuki's hands are covered with green chakra, which is the advanced ninjutsu Palm Sage Jutsu in medical ninjutsu. Chakra output from the palm can improve the healing ability of wounds or affected areas. It is a kind of treatment ninjutsu. The amount of chakra needs to be adjusted according to the severity of the disease, so not many ninja doctors know how to use it. In addition, excessive output of chakra will destroy the normal circulatory system in the patient's body and cause the patient to become comatose. Not only external injuries, but also internal diseases can be effectively treated. Third generation sand iron. Yu Gong Qinshan suddenly thought of something and began to rummage around Yi Kang's body. Qinshan, what are you doing? His behavior was severely scolded by Hotake Sakumo. But Yu Gong Qinshan didn't stop, but searched Yi Kang more carefully. His serious look didn't look like he was taking advantage of others. Sure enough, I asked why they could come after me. This is iron powder. Suddenly, Yu Gong Qinshan ripped open Yi Kang's clothes around his waist, and a small piece of black powder instantly appeared in front of everyone. The moment he saw the black powder, Hotake Sakumo's face turned pale. This is the sand iron of third generation Kazekage. Since Yagura has this, it must have been specially placed by the third generation Kazekage in order to control the position of his subordinates through his own magnet style. I used the Flying Thunder God technique to take Yi Kang out of the village directly. I must have alerted him, that's why they were able to organize the hunt so quickly. Moonlight Qinshan's face was also very ugly. He didn't expect that third generation Kazekage actually had such ability. After all, the character and style of third generation Kazekage are not mentioned in the original work. But now it seems that it is absolutely no exaggeration to call this guy the strongest Kazekage. This is something that other Kazekages do not possess. Ahem, Sakumo-sama, please lead them to retreat. I can still help you block it for a while. Qinshan Ken is very clear about his situation. In this situation, giving up on him is the safest way. After all, this place is not far from the edge of the desert. As long as he gives up, others can escape. Don't talk nonsense, I have no intention of abandoning my teammates. Since we are on a mission together, of course we have to go back together. Yu Gong Qinshan just looked at the scene in front of him. He knew that history was still happening in front of him, and it was because of Hotake Sakumo's thoughts that he later endured the public opinion of the entire village. It's a pity that the situation is completely different this time. Just when he was thinking about how to escape safely, Hyuga Mitsudo exclaimed again. Here we come. The pursuers are here. The leader is Chiyo, the elder of Sunagakur village. Hotake Sakumo's face turned extremely ugly when he heard this. You're catching up so quickly. How did they know we escaped here? Tu Xing was a little frightened. They obviously escaped after avoiding the pursuers, how could they be discovered so quickly? At this moment, Chiyo had led dozens of ninjas to surround the ruins. Hotake Sakumo, come out quickly and die. You can't escape. Hand over Yi Kang. Chiyo's eyes were spitting fire at this moment, and she finally saw the murderer who killed her son. She only had one thought in her heart at this time, and that was revenge. Hotake Sakumo slowly looked outside. The ruins were completely surrounded by the ninjas of Sunagakur village. Breaking out is easier said than done. Qinshan, can your Flying Thunder God technique teleport them away? Yu Gong Qinshan shook his head. It's not that he doesn't want to, but that he doesn't have a technique. Without a technique to position himself, where would you let him fly? If Sakumo-sama can help, there might be a chance. Hotake Sakumo, who had originally given up on flying the Thunder God, instantly regained his hope. How to say, the only thing I can use to use the Flying Thunder God technique now is this pile of kunai. As long as you can take this kunai away from here, I can activate the Flying Thunder God to take them away together. Gecko Chizun stared at Hotake Sakumo's face, observing carefully. What he meant was that you, Hotake Sakumo, have to break out, and then we can leave together. This forces him to make a choice. Sure enough, when Hotake Sakumo heard that he needed to break out alone, his expression suddenly changed. He looked around at the crowd. These were all his companions who were on a mission with him. How could he break out of the encirclement on his own? Even if he breaks out, if Yu Gong Qinshan's Flying Thunder God technique doesn't work, wouldn't he become a sinner? Looking at his troubled expression, Yu Gong Qinshan sighed helplessly. Sure enough, although Hotake Sakumo is extremely powerful, his heart is extremely fragile. And what everyone said next made Hotake Sakumo's heart sting again. Sakumo-sama, take that woman with you to break out. As long as you break out, this mission will be completed. The first person to speak was Ken Chingshan, who was lying on the ground receiving treatment. He had given up on his own life and death. As long as the mission was completed, it didn't matter if he died here. Haha, Lord Sakumo, don't worry, I, Tu Xing, can fight alongside you without any fear. You should leave quickly before they attack. Yamanaka Heichi and Hyuga Mitsudo did not speak, but their firm eyes showed their decision. Hatake Sakumo's whole body was numb, and he looked at Moonlight Chinshin with great confusion. Master Sakumo, don't look at me. As long as you can get out, I will definitely take them away. If you believe me, break out. Moonlight Chinshin has already begun to complain. You old helper, do you not believe me or Senju Tobarama? This flying thunder god technique is a time and space ninjutsu. Forbidden technique. Do you understand? You're delaying the meeting, and they really won't be able to leave. Forget it, it's up to you. Anyway, he can guarantee his own safety in Yugong Chinshin. Well, you can even take Yi Kang with you. This is his mission goal and you still have to take him back. Okay, Chinshin, promise me that you will take them out of here together. Hatake Sakumo patted Gecko Chisen's shoulder heavily, and then walked out. The figure weighed down by the pressure was a little rickety. HMPH, Chio. Your Sunagakur village's response was very quick. Want to kill me? It depends on whether you are qualified or not. Facing his own people, Hatake Sakumo is powerless, but facing enemies, especially enemies who push his own people into desperate situations. Hatake Sakumo instantly transformed into a hell demon, exuding a terrifying aura. His red eyes perfectly illustrated how angry he was at this moment. HMPH. Hatake Sakumo, you must avenge your son's murder. Today is the day you die. White secret technique. Chikamatsu 10 people. 10 white figures suddenly appeared. It was the stunt that Chio became famous for, the secret white technique, Chikamatsu 10 people. Controlling 10 puppets at the same time can be said to be the pinnacle of puppetry. Moonlight Chinshin finally realized how terrifying the Konoha White Fang was. Completely angry, the White Fang in his hand has completely transformed into Shinigami's scythe. The whole body is wrapped with thunder and lightning chakra. This use of chakra reminds Yugong Chinshin of 3rd generation and 4th Raikage. Although White Fang's thunder attribute chakra possession is not as terrifying as the other party, it also greatly stimulates itself. Even when faced with the siege of dozens of people, the white figure walked in the center of the crowd with super speed. No matter whether the opponent throws shurikens, detonating charms, or activates ninjutsu, they will all be killed with one sword. Hatake's sword skills don't have any fancy moves, but just kill the enemy with one sword. Don't be affected by his speed. Keep your distance, ninjutsu will cover you. As the person who knew White Fang best on the field, Chio immediately issued the order. Upon hearing the order, all the Sunagakur ninjas immediately dispersed outside. All kinds of ninjutsu were thrown at the White Fang like an overwhelming force. Fire style, fireball jutsu, wind release, wind cutting technique, wind escape, wind and dust technique, wind escape, great breakthrough. Ninjutsu is mainly based on wind release and fire style, both of which have powerful lethality. What's more, fire style can be amplified by wind escape. All of a sudden, overwhelming flames covered the direction of White Fang. I'm going to help Sakumo-sama. Regardless of his injuries, Tu Xing rushed out to fight. But Yugong Chinshin had quick eyes and quick hands and grabbed him. You are causing trouble there. With Sakumo-sama alone, he can kill a few people and break through. If you go, you still want him to take care of you. None of us can leave by then. Hearing Yugong Chinshin's fierce shouting, Tu Xing's originally angry heart gradually dropped, and a trace of weakness appeared on his face. Faced with his angry abuse, Yugong Chinshin ignored him. Instead, watch the battle more carefully. Facing the monstrous fire, Hatake Sakumo was not afraid at all. Hatake's sword technique, first style. Cut, an ordinary name, an ordinary move. Just cut it off with a single knife. But if this sword was used by Hatake Sakumo, it would be another matter. I saw the ninja sword White Fang emitting a dazzling light, which was the expression of chakra being activated to the extreme. As soon as the knife fell, the flame disappeared and the violent wind subsided. Hitachi sword technique, second style. Swing, changed from cutting vertically to sweeping. This sword carried supreme power, as if it was going to split everything in front of him into two. Everyone push behind my puppet. You cannot block this blow. Chiyo clasped his hands together, and the 10 puppets instantly spread their arms. Puppet technique machine light shield. In an instant, 10 shields flashing with blue light appeared. A group of Sunagakur village ninjas instantly hid behind the puppet. With this sword swing, the terrifying slash instantly hit the shield. Chiyo shuddered, gritted his teeth and desperately released chakra to maintain his defense. Snort. Seeing that his second sword was blocked, Hitachi Sakumo was very unhappy. Just as he was about to pull out the third knife, a voice appeared in his mind. Stop fighting. Seize the opportunity and run. That was Gecko Senzen's voice, and it was obvious that he had transmitted the voice to him through Yamanaka Heichi's teleportation technique. Thinking of what Moonlight Shinshin said before, Hitachi Sakumo gritted his teeth. Looking at the ninjas of Sunagakur village, he was very unwilling. He really wants to kill them. But he couldn't. In order to leave with his team members, he suppressed the idea of continuing to fight. He suddenly ran towards Konoha. All the chakra was poured into his feet, and Hitachi Sakumo flew away like a rocket. Okay, Lord Sakumo has left. The next step is to wait for him to run out some distance, and I will activate the Flying Thunder God to take you away. Watching Hitachi Sakumo Gecko Chizen leave, he breathed a sigh of relief. He was really afraid of Hitachi Sakumo getting involved. Konoha White Fang. He actually escaped. As soon as Chiyo withdrew his defenses, he discovered that Hitachi Sakumo had run away. This made her very angry. Everyone, rush in, kill the rest, and get Yi Kang back. Chiyo knew very well that people like him couldn't catch up with the Konoha White Fang who ran away with all their strength. You can only complete the current task first. Who knew that at this moment, a figure suddenly walked out slowly from the ruins of the ruins. And he was holding their elite Jonin Hagura of Sunagakur village in his arms. Hey, don't be impulsive. The person you want is in my hands. Don't come over here, or I'll take action. Yugong Chinshin put a kunai on Yi Kang's neck, as if they would die together if they disagreed. Originally he didn't want to come out, but in order to buy time for everyone, he still chose to come out. HMPH. Konoha brat. Let Hagura go. I'll spare your life. Hitachi Sakumo has abandoned you and fled. There is no need for you to die for such a person. Chiyo raised her hand to stop the actions of the others. In her opinion, the few Konoha ninjas in front of her were already on their plate, and there was no possibility of escape. Instead of killing him, it's better to get a set of information about Konoha. You were right, Hitachi Sakumo actually abandoned us and escaped on his own. I disdain to be in the same village with this kind of person. The actor Moonlight over Thousand Mountains is online, and his performance is spot on. The grief and anger on his face and the trembling hands undoubtedly did not explain his anger towards Hitachi Sakumo. My lord, this is the situation now. I don't know if Sunagakur village will accept us. We are all abandoned children. Rather than being abandoned by Konoha, I would rather join Sunagakur village. Then we will take revenge on Konoha severely. Yugong Chinshin shouted excitedly. Everyone who heard his words was stunned. Even Chiyo was a little confused. Is this kid a ninja? How could he surrender to the enemy on the battlefield? What nonsense are you talking about? Even Tu Xing and the others behind him were fooled into entering and yelled at him. On the contrary, Chiyo was relieved. The kid in front of me was only a teenager, so it was normal for me to not want to die. HMPH. As a Konoha ninja, you are so spineless. It's really an embarrassment to the hokage of all generations. Chiyo was a little scornful of Moonlight Shinshin's actions. She is proud and looks down upon weaklings. I didn't expect that I didn't kill the Konoha White Fang today, and I saw such a weak-headed ninja. I was really angry. Hey, you can't say this. I didn't embarrass the hokage. Didn't I earn a lot of time? Are you right, Chiyo-sama? Yugong Chinshin's tone suddenly changed, from a look of sorrow and anger at the beginning to a look full of joking. He felt it. Hitachi Sakumo stopped, and it was his performance time next. Kid, what do you mean? Seeing Yugong Chinshin's changing expression, Chiyo instantly felt something was wrong. But she didn't think the kid in front of her could jump around under her watch. Chiyo-sama, times have changed. Remember, never underestimate Konoha's ninjas, especially young ninjas. Ha 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 ha. Yugong Chinshin laughed to himself. He smiled because he remembered a saying about Konoha. Jonin can only throw kunai, genin is the main force. Never mess with the genin of Konoha village. Ha ha ha, although he is not genin, he is still young. Brat, kill him for me. Chiyo was tired of the kid in front of him and directly issued an attack order. But just for a moment, Yugong Chinshin's figure disappeared instantly. Also disappearing at the same time was Yi Kang in his arms. Even Chiyo was surprised by the sudden scene. With her eyesight, she could certainly see that the other party did not activate the teleportation technique, but simply disappeared from the spot. Even the breath has disappeared. I fell into a trap. This kid is pretending to be a pig and eating the tiger. This is space-time ninjutsu. After all, Chiyo is a battle-hardened ninja and the highest-end combat power in Sunagakur village. He recognized Gecko Senzen's technique at a glance. But so what if he recognized it? It was already too late. Moonlight Chinshin had just left a spell on Yamanaka Heichi and others. Relying on the Flying Thunder God's technique, he sent everyone away from here after a few rounds. When the ninjas from Sunagakur village rushed to the ruins, except for a few bloodstains on the ground, there was no Konoha ninja at all. Brat, Chiyo was so angry. She didn't expect that when she was leading the team, not even one person was left behind. And the other party escaped right under her nose. Where's the sand iron from third generation Cage? Take it out and feel it. Look where they fled to. With a final attitude, Chiyo asked his subordinates to take out the sand iron from the third generation Cage. There is a magnetic induction between the sand iron and the sand iron. They relied on sand iron to track Yi Kang's location. How come? The ninja holding the sand iron in his hand suddenly looked confused, then turned to a broken wall, walked slowly over, and squatted down. After seeing the things on the ground, he felt bad all over. What did he see? A pile of sand and iron powder. Chiyo-sama, the other party found iron sand powder. And took out all the sand and iron. When Chiyo heard this, his vision suddenly went dark, and the next second, roars resounded throughout the ruins. Konoha ninja, you and I are at odds. On a boulder 5 kilometers away from the ruins. Hitaki Sakumo breathed heavily and used chakra to help speed up. Although the effect was very strong, it consumed a lot of money. What's more, in order to seize the time, Hitaki Sakumo ran 5 kilometers in 2 minutes before stopping. According to his feeling, running here should be enough. Just when he dragged his exhausted body and started to worry about his teammates. Call out, who? He suddenly found that there was an extra person in front of him. He drew his knife sharply, but he was ecstatic the next second. Because the person who appeared was none other than the target of their mission, Sangakur elite ninja Yi Kang. Immediately afterwards, figures appeared in front of him one after another. Yamanaka Heichi, Aoyama Ken, Nozuki, Earth Element. Finally, Moonlight Thousand Mountains. He did it, Yugong Chinshin really did it, relying on the Flying Thunder God's technique to take everyone out of the encirclement. Well done, Chinshin, well done, ha 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 ha. That old woman Chiyo must have never thought that you could actually know time and space ninjutsu. Ha 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 ha. Seeing all his team members escaping, Hitaki Sakumo came to life. Hey, Lord Sakumo, did we escape? Oh my god, Chinshin, your Flying Thunder God technique is amazing. Doyuki was the most nervous, but looking at Hitaki Sakumo who looked tired, he also came to his senses. I hugged Yugong Chinshin in excitement. Of course it would be better to survive if I could. Ouch, let me go, I'm tired. Flying 5 kilometers with you guys, my chakra will bottom out. Moonlight Chinshin is no nonsense, even if his chakra level has increased. But this time the Flying Thunder God was too far away, and he wasn't teleporting himself, but was transporting someone with him. The consumption is not that big. Ha ha ha, I have my special military food pills. Although they don't taste good, they can be used. Come on, eat with confidence. Yugong Chinshin looked at the Bingliang pills that Tu Xing took out, and the corner of his mouth twitched. The dark pills looked very unpalatable. Tu Xing, I appreciate your kindness. My stomach is relatively fragile and I can't digest it. You'd better keep your special soldier food pills for yourself. Tsukumo-sama, let's not stay any longer. Although we no longer have sand iron, we are still within the kingdom of wind and it is not safe. Hearing Gecko Senzen's words, Hatake Tsukumo nodded. Wangren, you carry Qingshan on your back. Yayoi, help take care of it together. Everyone else, let's go. Back to the land of fire. Different from the joy of Hatake Tsukumo's team. The situation in Sunagakure village is much more subdued. In the Cage building, Chio and Kamaki stood in front of third-generation Cage and finished reporting the matter. After listening to third-generation Cage, veins popped out all over my head. So, you two attacked together and didn't even leave each other alone. Is that right? There was deep anger in the seemingly plain voice. Yi Kang is the surprise attack captain assigned by me. He was captured by the enemy. Do you understand what this means? Get out of here. Third-generation Cage Haneda Zeman suppressed the anger in his heart and issued an eviction order. Cage shuddered. He had been following third-generation Cage for a long time and knew that the opponent was on the verge of going berserk at this time. Then he immediately withdrew. Haneda Zeman, the failure of this mission is my fault. You punish me, but I can't say anything. But I still want to say that the other party has the existence of ninjutsu that controls time and space, if it is not guarded against. We will never gain anything from future wars. Now that Yi Kang is captured, I hope you agree to let me serve as the surprise attack captain. After finishing speaking, Chio withdrew before third-generation Cage could speak. Wait until both of them exit the office. Countless black sand iron instantly covered the entire office. Konoha, we have a long way to go. A roar full of murderous intent sounded instantly. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.